lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get.
He missed the pit complete. That is crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
For some, the frost is on the pumpkin and the hay is in the barn. For others, the flowers are in bloom and the days grow longer. But no matter your latitude, this time of year has iRacers around the globe racing not for personal accolades, but instead racing for club pride. Each driver hoping to contribute to their club's success in the prestigious iRacing World Cup. And all the Group D action both on the oval here at Atlanta Motor Speedway and later at Italy's Imola road course can be seen live as it happens here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Hello and welcome from the Peach State to another and very special GSRC broadcast. I'm your host Bill Soupson, pairing with me to call the action and once again upping the world record for combined age for a sim racing commentary duo, the Australian sage Richard Losper. Turning the knobs and pushing the sliders is the proud graduate of the University of Pitt's topology, Dr. Ramjed himself, Amjed Yaman, and the camera locations have been provided by the Ansel Adams of iRacing, Dougie Beard. The group round of the iRacing World Cup is a double-header affair, a 50-minute road race in the Corvette C6 from Imola, preceded by 80 laps here at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the Gen 6 stock cars. This 15-minute Streamy Award-worthy pre-race show will count us down to the green flag of that first race, all the while giving you the information to help you appreciate how we got to this point, what's on tap, and where it all leads. Last week, 35 iRacing clubs competed in the fixed setup qualifying round that consisted of an oval race at Charlotte and a road race at Watkins Glen, racing in the same cars scheduled for today. From there, the top 16 that you see on the chart right there were seated into 4 groups, with the winning club from each group advancing to the finals. Now the group round results for groups A, B, and C are final. So Richard, let's you and I walk through which clubs advance and which clubs must wait until next year. Let's go ahead and bring up the Group A results. And Richard, no surprise, look who's on top.
Yes, indeed. It looks as if Finland is right at the top there. They are in Group A. What is that? 589 points, my goodness, for a total of over 1,300, and in fact 1,356 points.
Yeah, they dominated both the road and the oval sections, ahead of Scandinavia, who really did a good job trying to do the best they could to man up, give them a run for their money. Couldn't get that going. And then your club, they just, even though the timing was, there was plenty of time, it's Australia just didn't get the manpower together.
No, they're unfortunate. They're third place for Australia, New Zealand. Not forgetting our cousins across the pond, New Zealand. 544 points in the road series at Imola. And in the oval series here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. They and that has disappeared off my screen.
Yeah, there was 316 points then from the oval at here at Atlanta, so 860 they finished third, and then of course the fourth place team of Asia. Now remember, this is the Group A results. Asia finished in last. Now we look at the B group. So Finland advances there. We look at the B category here, and I think that we're going to see that it's the familiar team of Diach. Now, what that's Germany for Deutschland, and I think Austria and Switzerland in there. 1,315 points combined. Richard, going to move on to be with Finland. Giving them a good run, though, was the U.S. Florida.
Yes, indeed. Bill, you'll have to take it, my friend. That is off screen at the moment, not getting any of that information.
Florida,
sorry.
About 150 points back. They really did a good run there to get into that, make a shot at getting into the finals. Then, of course, the third and fourth place team there. That's Iberia, I think, is that little wolf, I think, on there. And then the fourth place graphic, well, that's Texas. Just couldn't get it going. get it together. Then round C that just wrapped up here, covered on GSRC just a little while ago. Really no surprise that it was the United Kingdom and Ireland really crushing the competition. Canada put up a valiant effort. They're a nice group of people, but they just didn't have the manpower to do it. And then, of course, that's Central Europe, I guess, Central and Eastern Europe, 628 points in third position. And then the fourth one goes to Benelux. I believe that's Belgium and the Netherlands and maybe
Yes.
Luxembourg, the combination down there. They didn't have anybody in the oval, so 133. They're out of it. So our finals are going to be the United Kingdom and Ireland. That's one group. The other one is the German, Austria, and Switzerland group. And then, of course, Finland. Then it's all about what's going to happen out of this group. Let's go down. So with the top seeds all advancing, that brings us to the present Group D. Richard, what are the 4 clubs that we get to call today for this group?
Now this is going to be really interesting. We have indeed Northwest Club, and then we've got New York, we've got Brazil across from Europe there, Brazil. Now all of these are quite strong clubs. And of course, your home state there, California, Bill, down in position 4 there. So those are the 4 clubs. And you can see the points that they have. There's a Northwest already up at 3794 points with New York.
These are the qualifying points, Richard. These are from the qualifying round because of course we don't have the advancing round here. But as you were seeing, Northwest out in front. New York, though, very competitive.
Yeah, we see they've got talent, and they've a matter of getting their entries in so that they can race and get the points. Brazil, again, motivation to participate required, guys. Not only would they be a favorite to win the group, but they can put in a legitimate threat to win the whole thing if they turn up. That's the the key thing. Rio might get into festival time over there.
Yeah, now, one of the things that they have to work on, the organizers have to make sure that they have good racing time for everybody around the group, and it's pretty good. Northwest and California, both in Pacific time. It's 4 p.m. on a Saturday for them, so that should be pretty good. A little later for Brazil, 9 p.m. on a Saturday. And like Richard just said, Saturday night in Rio, I'm not sure how much participation they're going to get here on iRacing. And, of course, New York, about 7 p.m. right now. So hopefully we'll have good turnouts for all those. Later on in this broadcast, thanks to the magic of the virtual universe, the GSRC team will whisk over to Italy for the second half of the Group D doubleheader, a 50-minute road race from Imola. But kicking off today's festivities is 80 laps in the Gen 6 stock car from right here, Richard. Tell us a little bit about Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yes, indeed, sir. This is your standard 1.5 mile track. In fact, to be absolutely accurate, it's 1.54 miles or 2.48 kilometers. It's a D-shaped oval. Number of turns, of course, on these standard ovals is 4, and it has 24 degrees of banking. Our pit road is fairly slow, 45 miles per hour, 72 kilometers. Which is kind of strange for a 1.5 mile over, but that being the case, that is what is stipulated. We are going to have a lot of fun at this track, but let's just have a good look at a lap guide provided by Brian Yazik for GSRC.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global Sim Racing Channel. I'm Brian Yazik, taking you for a spin around the Atlanta Motor Speedway today in the GSRC Chevrolet SS. Atlanta's a fast, worn out, as you see right there, worn out 1.5 mile oval, and it's very, very tricky to get around. So I'm going to kind of show you how to try to do it. Hot lap, going to aim for that white line, get right down in there, get in there a lot better than I did, because you really want to hug that white line all the way through corner exit and start drifting up right here on the exit of turn 2. Turn 3, kind of a weird entry. The track kind of falls away, and you really try to find the bottom. Probably half throttle all the way through here, 3/4, finally back full throttle. Watch the wheel spin just a little bit, and then that's going to complete your fast lap. Now, as the run progresses, you might see guys venture up here. Atlanta in turns 1 and 2 really, really makes it nice and easy to gun up there and run that top lane. So you're not running the bottom to try to cut it and try to burn off that right front. But 3 and 4, all night, you're going to see guys coming right down here to that line, back into the gas, let it roll through the center, back out, watch the wheel spin, come through the first little quad oval there, across the line, and that's going to complete your track guide here around the Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm Brian Yazik. Enjoy the show.
GSRC's own Brian Yazik takes you around a recorded lap here of the 1.5 D-shaped oval that is Atlanta Motor Speedway. And now that we've got to know the track, let's get familiar with the race details. Richard, what's in store here for Atlanta?
Yeah, it's an oval race. As we all know, there are 3 cars involved. The Generation 6 stock car. So you've got the Toyota Camry, you've got the Ford Fusion, and of course you have the Chevy as well. And it's open setup as you would expect in a race at this level. They are entitled to fill up to 100% of the fuel tank. They will still require 1 pit stop. Qualifying is the best of 2 laps. 80 laps is the race, roughly 120 miles. No fast repairs, no incidents, capped as again you would expect. They will be doing cautions, and they will also be using the lucky dog system. So if you're the last guy on the lap, you will get a wave by. Double file restarts, and we have a look at the weather, and we see that it's 87 degrees Fahrenheit. In my terms, that is 45 degrees on track or 31 degrees centigrade air temperature. Winds at about 8 miles per hour, and the relative humidity at 55%. It's clear, and it's roughly midday over there.
Now, to get a better idea of understanding of how the drivers score points for their clubs, let's look at the scoring system. Now, here's the way it's supposed to work. There are 40 grid spots available. I'm going to just read the script here, and then I'm going to tell you actually what's going on. There are 40 grid spots available, 10 for each of the 4 clubs, with the top 9 drivers for each scoring points for their club. But let's get real here today. The weather is beautiful right now in California on this early November day. The sun is out, it's warm, the women are beautiful, so it's no surprise that California has not put an entry into this event. Likewise, if there's anybody to rival the women of California, it could be Brazil. And we said it's 9 o'clock on a Saturday night. I guess some of the iRacers from Brazil have something better to do as well. So neither California nor Brazil have entered any drivers in here. That means that it's going to be, oh, let me apologize. California sneaks one in now. Congratulations. We get one. It's really going to be a 2-team race between Northwest, who has a full field of 10 drivers, and New York, which right now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers. So just because New York is outnumbered, that doesn't mean they're out of it. If they can lock in those top points and dominate up top, which is possible because they have the talent, they could advance. We're still looking for an upset here. We have about 3 minutes to go. Richard, I know you've had a little bit of time in your early years with iRacing. You got in, you did some oval racing. I think from watching some of the earlier events here, this is pretty much a 2-groove track. I don't think it's so much hang to the bottom or the top working. I think we could have an exciting race in store for us here.
Oh, absolutely. At the beginning, when the tires are working well, you will see drivers hugging the bottom line and using that to get advantage if they can. But later on in the race, Bill, when the tires go off a little bit, you will see the middle groove and the top section of the track being utilized a lot more, as we saw in Brian Yazik's excellent video lap guide of the track there. So look for guys to be using that top groove to try and get advantage later in the race. And as they qualify right now, we see Mark Waltz right up at the top. It's very, very close at the top there. Of course, with oval racing, it's always very close. You're talking about tenths of a second or even hundredths of a second instead of on road courses, probably seconds or a half a second or so. So going to be very interesting as they come slowly to the close of the qualifying.
Hey, and let me update you here. We had some late arrivals as Brazil starts to pound in with a bunch of drivers. California chips in with a couple, so maybe we have an event going on after all. Let's go ahead and run down the grid. Richard on the front row. I'll take that one. Mark Waltz and Sean Batesman. Who do you have row 2?
Row 2, Brian Barnes and Chad M. Barker.
Hunter McDaniel and Ricky Bozer in row 3.
Row 4 is Chris Beck and Dee Palmer.
I had everything ready except I didn't put on my reading glasses. Now I'm ready to keep going through here. Dee Palmer and Wayne Hutchison in row 9. Oh, sorry, 8 and 9.
Wayne Hutchinson and Carl Burke actually on the next row. And then we have Jared Morgan and Timothy Campbell. They will be row 6.
Now we got Mario Gonzalez and Jason Klein go 13th and 14th.
And then we have a bunch of people, late entries, Bill, Kyle Young, Rafael Mata. These guys have not put in qualifying times.
We can run off some of those names down there. Junior Babaruma, Kyle Young, Rafael Mata, Marcos Pisa, Ralph Sacervia. Boy, there's a lot of Brazil drivers who did not get in there. Yes. Alex Montanelli. They must have, maybe they set their clocks back in Brazil here. Alison Piera. These are all Brazilian drivers. We may have a shot here at Brazil making a run at this thing. None of these guys put in qualifying times. We have 27 names on the grid. Only 14 of them put in qualifying time.
Yeah, that's correct. And we've got the pace car sitting out there on the track at the moment. Northwest drivers on the first row just behind the pace car, waiting for things to get moving. But you're quite correct, Bill. Can't understand why Brazil waited for qualifying to be nearly done to bring on their drivers. Very late start for them. Maybe they were celebrating and then somebody said, hey, there's a race on, better get over. So they brought them out quickly, and they're on the racetrack as we see the pace car moving now.
So on the pole, that's Mark Waltz as your pole sitter for the Northwest Club. That's a name I'm not familiar with. Another Northwest driver outside of him in second position there is Sean Bateman.
And in fact, if you look at the color schemes, you can just see green and blue all the time in the first 5 spots, I want to say, and then you see a different color. First New York driver is in position number 5, I want to say.
Inside of row 3, it looks like the 57 car of Hunter McDaniel.
That's
then
correct.
He's smothered around a lot of other Northwest drivers in there. My dad used to call it hospice racing when you're racing surrounded by loved ones. Right now, the pace car has pulled away. Gather up the chicken, take cover behind the cows, because the horses are out of the barn, and it's a stampede of Northwest drivers up in front. Mark Waltz on the inside, dropping in behind him is Sean Beatsman.
And that lone New York driver doing a fantastic job right in there in the white car. He's absolutely swamped and surrounded by Northwest cars, Bill, as they come to complete lap number 1 very, very soon. Coming into the D section now, completing lap number 1, the leaders, and further back. Looks all clean to me, Bill. Very good racing. Northwest
drivers locking down 7 of the top 8 spots. The only one that's causing a problem in there, as we have a car off already. Looks like it's okay, though. Looks like back on. The only one causing a problem is the New York driver.
And I'm having a look at car number 53. That is also of the different club now. I'm not quite sure what those colors mean. That's is that also a Northwest car? Okay, but Bill, just have a look at all those green and blue cars. They swamped everybody. It's and you got that lone little white car there from New York, and then back here Carl Burke in the 53 car, still Northwest as well, different color scheme. Then we come to Kyle Young, who is another New York driver, and he's sitting back in 11th position.
Let's look at car number 22, currently running in 13th position, Raul Soyeva. He's the top Brazilian driver for his squad, and he's making his way up through the pack now, following along behind these guys. Raul started in 19th, has picked up 6 positions, and is now working inside of the 123 machine. That's Toby Klein.
And Bill, all the cars that started, 27 of them, are all on track at the moment. They're all racing at the moment. So this is some really good racing early. Remember, this is 80 laps, pit stops to come as well. But in this early stages of the race, Northwest out in front with at least 3 cars, and then we see one of the lone New York driver in 4th position, looking for that. Looking at Raul Sareva at the moment, he's making every post a winner, Bill. He's just moved past another car, the 22 car we're looking at here. He's got now in his sights one of the Northwest drivers again as the complete lap number 6. He's doing a great job, is Raul Sareva from Brazil.
I don't know how to say giddy up in Portuguese, but he knows how to say it because he's on a roll right now. I think what Brazil did was a little Bobby Fischer type mind games here on the rest of us, kind of not showing up on time, kind of getting into everybody's mind, and then all of a sudden they show up. We're here in force, so let's see if Brazil can work their way up through the pack. Certainly, the guy leading the way is Raul Sareva.
Yeah,
so we're going to call this name a lot. Let's go with Sareva, I think is how we're going to go with that.
Yeah, Sareva, I would say. Raul
all right.
Sareva, yep. And other cars that I want to keep an eye on, Carl Young from New York. And then also the other New York driver, which is Hunter McDaniel. Hunter is now up to 3rd place. So New York putting in a strong showing here with that a couple of their drivers in this race. And we're only 8 laps done now. Still plenty of laps to go in this race. But at this point in time, 1st place being held down by Mark Waltz. Indeed, he's held that place from the beginning of the race. Sean Breitzman in 2nd place, also from the beginning of the race. But Hunter McDaniel has moved up from his start in 5th place. He's now 3rd. That's great run, great racing.
Just so you know what might be in store for you, the Group B race went wire to wire, green all the way through. So it's possible we could do that, as they're currently working lap 8 of 80. Coming across here will be lap 9. We're 1/10 of the way through.
You know, Bill,
Northwest. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's amazing to me that just when the race was starting, there was 16 drivers and that last minute joining of the Brazilian drivers and some of the other drivers as well has taken the field up to 27. They're all on track. They're all racing. I've gone right to the rear of the track. Haven't seen any particularly drastic moves being made. So everyone quite patient here. Good race, Bill.
Let's run you down a few of the fields here then. You got 2 Northwest drivers out in front, Waltz and Breitzman running 1-2. Then you got the New York driver of Hunter McDaniel. So he's running 3rd. Then we go to 4th and 5th. Once again, it's 2 more Northwest drivers. That's Brian Barnes and Ricky Bozer. Then you drop back every 3rd spot. It looks like it's going to be a New York driver, and that's Kyle Young. Kyle Young, that's a name I know. He used to race. Whoa, Kyle getting a little bit loose there. Kyle used to race in the early days of the in the MX5 World Tour event. After Kyle, then you go back to a Northwest driver, D. Palmer, running in 7th position, and then the man on the move, Raul Sareva, coming up in 22. Rounding out your top 10, Carl Burke of the Northwest, and then in 10th position is another New York driver, Jacob Klein. So New York representative, they just got to get a few more of these other guys up there. They got 100 this. Remember, it's the points that they score here on the oval, and then it's also the points that they score here later on at Imola.
And let's go back to car number 22 of Raul Sareva. He has got in his sights now that New York driver, D. Palmer. So let's see if he can take that position away. They just crossed the line into lap number 13. He is doing a fantastic job at the moment. In front of him, D. Palmer, and then Carl Young, who you mentioned earlier, from the New York club, just ahead of them. So this is a really good battle. He goes to the inside now, and he goes down low. The driver, number 23, D. Palmer, stays high. Can he take the position away? Looks like he's got that job done. Bill, fantastic racing from Raul Sareva. Not done yet. He's a bit loose at the moment. He's recovered. Dicey moments there, Bill. He's recovered. But I tell you what, he nearly lost it and went across the greenery.
Boy, I'll say. Keep in mind that these tires go away early here, so what Raul was used to when he started All the drivers are experiencing something different right now.
Yeah, that's correct. Now, let's see. I'm going up to Hunter McDaniel, the New York driver. He's in third place, still in third place, but looks as if he's falling back from the top two, Mark Waltz and Sean Brightman. Those two are they're Northwest drivers. They're following each other. And of course, when you're in the same club, teamwork does come into play, and oval driving can be all about teamwork. Drafting is very, very important in oval racing, and if you've got a teammate nearby helping you, that makes it very much easier. So these guys are working together up front there, Mark Waltz and Sean Brightman, to drop off the lone driver of Hunter McDaniel. Would have been great if Carl Young could get up there and help his teammate, but he's much further back in 6th place. He's about 4 seconds back from the leader, so if he could get up there, he could help his teammate do something. But at this stage, it's all Northwest.
Got another driver to keep an eye on. He's on the move. 9th position right now. Rafael Mata. His friends and family call him Matty. Well, Matty's on the move right now. He's about to pass his countryman of Sarajevo. 2 Brazilians running 8th and 9th right now.
Somebody went off track. We're getting information. Let's get that on replay if we can.
Looking for it. I guess it was Chad Barker might have got a little bit loose. Also,
Getting
Leonardo Santos got loose as well. Here we go. We're looking for this replay. Where are you going, Chad?
Whoa, he's down low. And does he recover? The number 18 looks like he may have recovered. Nasty moment there, but he's back on track, and we are back in the race.
Looking at this battle for 3rd position right now. That's Hunter McDaniel on the outside in the white 57. Trying to move his way up. Trying to make that high side work. Remember, Richard, we talked about this. I think once your tires warm up a little bit and they get a little dirty, I think the high side starts to come in. Now McDaniel trying to go do a little dipsy-do, a little up and under. Goes on the inside of the 4. Barnes stuck on the high side, but he has a little bit of drive off there. A nice battle going on right now for 3rd position. Watching the whole thing from behind, that's Ricky Poser.
Yeah, that's correct. And of course, these are all Northwest drivers. 4 Northwest drivers in the top 5. And Hunter McDaniel, the lone New York driver. But he's doing a fantastic job. The battle between himself and Brian Barnes has cooled off just a little bit. He's fallen back into line. But behind him, Ricky Bowser is having a bit of a look at him. He could be under threat very soon. And if that does happen, you could have your top 5 as we see the challenge. They crossed the line now, going into lap 21. Looks like there was nearly contact there. As we saw the Ricky Bowser going a bit high there, took away some space from Hunter McDaniel. But no harm, no foul. Hunter McDaniel has fallen back 1 position though.
So, 4 Bigfooters, they like to be called up there in the Northwest. That's where Sasquatch hails from. They're out in front. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then a couple Big Apple drivers back there in 5th and 6th. But here he comes. Matty is on the move. Running in 7th right now, Rafael Mata. He got around D. Palmer. Got around his countrymate, Raul Sarajevo.
And I'm looking at Raul Sarajevo right now. He is still looking pretty racy as he comes up on one of the Northwest cars. That's D. Palmer. He's tried to make the pass on the number 23 a number of times. Has got it sort of done, but not quite a number of times. Now they cross the line again. They're into lap number 23. Still this battle rages on, but he may just have it done now as he stays low. And he gets followed now by the 23 car. Gets overtaken by another Northwest driver. And that is that Jacob Klein getting in there with the 123? Yes, indeed it is. So the Northwest drivers battling each other. This is good for our friend Raul Sarajevo. Go, Raul.
Just to correct you there a little bit, Klein is from New York, so he's up there. That makes the 3rd New York driver inside the top 10. 2 Brazilian drivers inside the top 10. Everybody else is from the Northwest. You know, our commentator union makes us put the camera on the leaders every so often. So we better go up there just to make sure that we don't get in trouble with the big boss. Waltz out in front of Brietzman. And honestly, Richard, they're just out there. They're just racing. They're just driving around right now.
Yeah, but don't forget, we do have a pit stop required in the race. So that will change or might change things up a little bit. So I'm getting a little confused here with these colors, Bill. The 123 car is green and black, looks like a Northwest car. Is he trying to fool everybody that he's Northwest when in fact he's New York?
Again, that could be more sneaky games they're playing.
All right,
now,
let's take a wrap on where we are. Hey, what's happened up at the top? Pit stops. Pit stops are happening, guys. I see guys coming in, so let's take a note of that lap number. That is on lap number 26, where these guys are coming into the pits and taking on. Well, I'm not sure what the field. They probably will top off, Bill, but certainly they're looking for tires. Tires are key.
Yeah, that's one of the things where that early race that they went. The distance, I think some guys stopped it. There was some questions of whether you need to stop for tires. Well, apparently they're coming in at the quarter mark here. So your 2 leaders are in. That's going to turn the leader, Brian Bards, another Northwest driver, is going to inherit the lead. Let's see how long he stays out.
Yeah, Brian Barnes now inheriting the lead. Raul Saraiva has also stayed out, so he is now going into second place. Third place at the moment is, he's gone to third place now. Second place being taken up by Klein. It's all pit stops, so we can't give you clear positions at this point in time as it shuffles around quite a bit. But a lot of guys going into the pits now on lap 28.
Well, just to update you on the lap times, the leader put in his fastest lap 2, a 29.1. His last lap before he came in was a 31.2. So it was about over 2 seconds slower. So that's why these guys are coming in. They can't afford to stay out on the old rubber.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Bill. The rubber goes off, and we saw from the lap guide there by Brian Jazik that this track is bumpy. This track is quite an old track, so it's perhaps a little torn up. We can't see it all that much.
Look at the leader right now, the 123. That's Jacob Klein. He is your leader. He's getting blown by cars on fresher rubber. That's Sean Brietzman, who was your leader earlier. Then the number 19 car that we haven't heard much from before. That's Matthew Wilzenbach. That's a California driver there.
Yeah, that's correct. So, at the moment, with that 123 car has not pitted yet. Just about everyone else has pitted. What is his plan? And there was a
that's Wilzenbach, just in front of the leader.
Caution. We have the caution out, Bill. This is interesting.
That's why Jacob Klein didn't pit. He knew what he was doing. He's going to pit under yellow.
Yeah, he could score big from this.
There are only 3 cars, as we're watching the replay. There are only 3 cars on the lead lap right now. Oh, and it also involved Brietzman, who was running up front with Waltz. Remember, Waltz and Brietzman came in. They were running 1-2. They came in for the early stop, and now Brietzman has been caught up in this incident.
Getting the replay right at the moment. We see Brietzman, we're looking in car, and what happened? Oh, it looks like there might have been a touch on the wall there, Bill, which brought him down, and the Northwest car was involved in that, or nearly involved. The replay doesn't actually show us what happened there entirely. Let's have another look if we can.
We're getting one more look at it here.
Now that's... Go ahead, Bill.
What has happened is Mark Waltz is out there right now, and he is... has he made his pit stop yet? By the time he was scoring with that, I think he's about to make his pit stop. Oh, no, he's already... So, Waltz... sorry, let me get this right. Jacob Klein is now coming in. He was your leader. He stayed out. Sean Brietzman and Mark Waltz were able to unlap themselves. Remember, we saw that excitement going on around Klein? They were able to unlap themselves. So they're going to be able to come all the way around and Klein's going to be able to come out in third position, and then the entire field that is one lap down, and how many of them? It starts from position 4 all the way down to position 25, so 21 drivers are going to get the wave around.
And Jacob Klein comes out onto the track right now as we speak. He's taken tires, 4 of them. He's taken on fuel, no doubt, to top off his tanks. So we are on lap number 32 of 80. That's where Jacob Klein is, lap number 32 of 80. And a couple others in the pits there as well. Mark Waltz in the pits, Brightsman in the pits as well. And these guys, that's the second pit stop for them, which is kind of sad. But you're quite right, Bill. Jacob Klein in the box seat at the moment.
Now I'm showing 5 cars on the lead lap, so a few people were able to sneak in there. Of course, this is all shuffled up. Drivers are going to have to get the wave around. Richard, I believe if cars are a lap down, they'll still get to go all the way. Will they get to go all the way around, or do they have to be ahead in front of the leader? Yeah, we're getting it. Everybody's going to get a wave around here, we believe.
Yeah, they'll probably all get waved around, and at the moment, like you said, 5 cars on the lead lap. As you can see now, all the others getting the wave around, so they'll get the lap back, and they'll all be on the lead lap. But Jacob Klein will assume the lead, and behind him we should see. Well, looks like Sean Brightsman might land up in second place.
Yeah, I got my timing and scoring back up here. So it looks like Brightsman and Waltz came in for a second stop with Klein. So when Klein made his first stop, Brightsman and Waltz decided to come in as well. That's why Klein is going to be back up in the lead, I believe.
Yeah, Jacob Klein definitely our leader. But behind him, Sean Brightsman and Mark Waltz, Rafael Matter coming into pits now as well during this caution. Caution is still in progress. Let's go and have a look and see if the lights are off, and the pace car should be pretty close to be off now, and a restart getting underway very soon. So let's get ready for that one, Bill.
And it looks like we're going around one more time. Usually I could go ahead and look for the leader and find the pace car, but that's not the case because our leader is buried at the back of the pack here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, about 18, 19 cars. Here they all go. The wave around train begins, led by the Brazilian driver Lirciero Lete.
Yeah, that is a standard procedure in stock car racing. They wait for one to go, and then everybody gets the wave by. So now Jacob Klein will get to the front of the pack, and behind him he'll have Sean Brightsman and Mark Waltz. So, Bill, we understand that Klein is not a Northwest driver. Klein is in fact from New York.
Yes,
with
New York.
those green and black colors. Looks like a Northwest guy. He's got him all fooled. Maybe he's saying to the other Northwest drivers that, or trying to make the other Northwest drivers think he's a teammate, when in fact he's not.
And the wave arrived drivers coming around. The wave around kind of looked like soup, like at a department store on Black Friday here in the United States when they open it up for sales. Open it up and everybody just jumped in. All right, they've made it around. They've picked up their items that they want. They've made it to the checkout booth. All right, up in front, the pace car pulls in. And it's the Big Apple driver. 1, 2, 3. That's Jacob Klein, leading them across the start-finish line. Then we get to Brightsman, who we've seen before. On the inside of him is Waltz. Remember, those guys were running 1, 2 until the yellow. Then up into fourth.
Oh!
Matty. We got a no spin.
No, there was contact, though. There was contact. This was Junior Borborima. And the car behind you, they really made a contact. You won't see it. I'm seeing a replay now of a spin car there, though, Bill.
There we go. I guess Wilsonbach, the California driver, Wilsonbach got into it. All right, now we're back live. Let's set the stage for you. New York out in front with Jacob Klein. Mark Waltz from the Northwest. Rafael Mata. We call him Matty in the 27 Sheen from Brazil. We got a nice mix up front. And then Sean Brightsman, another Northwest driver, running 1, 2, 3, 4. Those guys have distanced themselves, and then we go all the way back to 5th place. Brian Barnes, another Northwest driver, in his familiar number 4.
That is correct. And then the next group, we've got D. Palmer there, Northwest once again. Sean Boundy, Hunter McDaniel from New York. We've been watching him. He was doing well early on in this race. And more
got
information.
A spin. It looks like Leandro Santos. Was that who we got? I think so. Santos spun all by himself, and he kept it straight. I don't think we're going to get the yellow. I think it's going to stay green. He bounced it off the wall, brought it back down, did a nice job of straightening it out. Rich Whoop, we just caught the end of it.
Yes, indeed. He got down on the, there's a very wide section there for the guys to go down onto all tarmac. So he managed to save there. No yellow flag. He's back racing, but that was an awful moment there for the number 29 car, I think that is. And he's back racing, no yellow flag. So let's get back to it. Jacob Klein in the lead. Mark Waltz kind of hunting him down at the moment, right up there with him, 0.261 seconds behind at the last passing of the line. And it looks like it's two Northwest clubs, folks who are watching here. Don't be fooled. That is a New York driver up ahead and leading this race at the moment on lap number 39.
Let's go to 6th right now as California, here we come as the number 20 machine. That's Sean Boundy making a move there, getting around the number 23 car of D. Palmer. So California moves up into 6th. Palmer, a Northwest driver, falls down a position.
Well, I tell you what, he was not involved with this is with Sean Boundy we're talking about. He was not involved with the pretty girls down on the beach.
No.
There. He is out here and racing at the moment in 7th place, doing a fantastic job for California. Go, Sean.
Him right there, running in 6th position and leaving the 7th place car behind. Pass for the lead right now. Here he comes. Matty's on the move. Rafael Mata gets around the 123. Jacob Klein on the low side. A new leader, Rafael Mata, from the great country of Brazil. Now on the high side, Jacob a little bit struggling up there as Klein is in a battle with Waltz. Waltz now side by side. Cialis Bathtubs into the first corner, and it looks like Waltz is going to get second. He's going to bring his Northwest teammate with him. Jacob, that would be Rietzman, comes in there as well in the 46,
Yes.
and Klein drops back to 4th.
He's gone from 1st to 4th in the space of one lap, but he's still in it, and he's back now on the good racing line and racing. But have a look at Rafael Mata. He is up front, but hunting him down is the pair of Mark Waltz and Sean Brightsman. They have stayed together. They are obviously working together, and they are running down Rafael Mata, no question about it.
How fast was Rafael Mata in practice? I can't tell you because he didn't run a practice lap. How fast was he in qualifying? I can't tell you because he didn't run a qualifying lap. How fast is he in racing today? I can tell you that. He's the fastest driver out there right now, out in front and pulling away.
Yes, and we just said that Sean Brightsman and Mark Waltz, that's Mark Waltz in 2nd place, Sean Brightsman in 3rd place, were hunting him down. Of course, they are working together, we understand, and they are from the same club, Northwest, but Rafael Mata from Brazil showing the way here, Bill, and Jacob Klein in 4th place. He is from New York. He is, they've broken up the domination of the Northwest Club, having 2 cars in the top 5 there, and Sean Boundy from California also in that top 5. So
he just
there's
got
a bit of a raspberry.
He just got around Brian Barnes. He just got around Brian Barnes to move up into 5th and is leaving Barnes behind. We'll give you an interval now to see if he can actually run down Klein. Let's give you that time. It's a long way. It's 5.8 seconds with 36 laps remaining. He'll have to get on his California horse to get going. But nevertheless, the Golden State finds itself with a driver inside the top 5. In fact, how about 4 different clubs in the top 5 right now? The only one having more than one is the 2 drivers, Waltz and Rietzman, from the Northwest Club.
That is correct, and it's good to see, Bill. Having a domination by one club is not what we came here to see. And this is certainly, I mean, there's still a long way to go. Make no mistake, they've just crossed the halfway mark of the race, lap 46. So still 34 laps to go in the race. But this is really good to see that the other clubs have come to race. They're not just filling in gaps.
Let's give you a little number count. There are 8 Brazilian drivers here today, 10 Northwest drivers here today. New York is sporting 6, 7 drivers, and 2 California drivers make up the field. One of those Californians, Sean Bounty, in the top 5.
And let's just get back to Rafael Matter, as he is in first place, but coming up on a slower car, gets past without any problem at all. That's the 208 car that he just passed there. And that car is staying well and truly out of the way of the leaders coming through. Good driving.
The good news is for Brazil, they have the leading driver. The bad news for the Brazil, the rest of their drivers right now are running 16th, 19th, 20th, 21, 22, 23, 24, and in the back. So they're not going to score a lot of points, but they are going to get a little attention.
Yeah, and looking in the chat here from one of the drivers, Matthew Wilsonbach, asking race control if he can protest something or other. Not sure what that was, but obviously he's unhappy about something. Back to the racing here. Rafael Mata from Brazil in the lead of this race, currently sitting on 100 points. If he can complete the other 30 laps in front of the rest of them, Bill.
Yeah, these protests, it doesn't do you a lot of good. It's not like the damage is already done. But what they can do is that the race officials have said they can eliminate drivers from coming back next year.
Ah, okay. Well, that's not going to help anybody in this year's event. Now, let's go and take a look at the New York driver we were following very early on in the race, Hunter McDaniel, the number 57. So he's back in 8th position now, still in a top 10 position, which is great for the New York club at this point in time. Doing just a good job here of staying on track, staying in the groove, and staying up there.
It should be just about pit stop time here, as these guys are on let's see, how long is this stint? About 30 laps, I guess. Let me get the official distance here. About 20.
25.
Oh, we had a couple yellow laps,
remember?
Okay.
Yeah, we had 25, 26 laps in the last stint from most of the drivers. So that's about what they get. As we see a big challenge on Hunter McDaniel here from behind him. Carl Burke takes the position now away from Hunter. Looked like there was almost contact between those two drivers as well. And Hunter, no real contact, but it was very close. As we see him under attack once again from Matthew Wilsonbach. And another position gets taken. He drops back another position. So under attack, Hunter McDaniel, unfortunately.
Looks like the interval between 4th and 5th, that's Klein to Bounty. Bounty is just about not going to get there. Bounty's having a hard time getting. But remember, it's about a 2-second a lap advantage to come in for tires. With 28 laps to go, I wonder if now wouldn't be the time if you want to see what they can do. I have no idea whether you want to come in, sacrifice track position, or stay out and run on old tires. 2 seconds a lap, 28 laps. Yep. Boy, that's about a minute.
Yeah, the thing is, Bill, you want to get into that window of 25, 26 laps. So they're just outside of that window now. If they pit now, they might have to pit again before the end of the race. So not a good time to be pitting now. Just hang out there for only a couple more laps, and then you're in the good position to come in, take tires and fuel. You may not even need to take any fuel, I'm not sure, but you should be able to be good to go on your tires for the rest of the race.
Yeah, in my brain somewhere, I got to apologize. I had a 100-lap race in here. It's only 80 laps. I apologize for that, for getting a little bit of my math wrong, so that'll change stuff up a little bit here. Got a battle for P9 position. It's quite a little bee's nest back here. That's Ricky Bozer in the car on the inside for the Northwest on the outside. Hunter McDaniel, we saw McDaniel running up front. He started 5th. He's dropped 10 positions, or 5 positions, Rich, running in 10th now.
Yeah. In fact, he's dropped in the last couple of laps. He's dropped 3 positions already. So Carl Burke overtook him. Then Ricky Boza overtook him. So we are looking at him just dropping back here. He's wishing he can get into the pits and get some fresh rubber, as he does right now.
Leaders are coming in. Mata has come in. I wasn't that far off. So Griezmann stays out. Waltz stays out. The 2 Northwest drivers stay out. Jacob Klein stays out. In fact, so does Bounty. So it looks like only the Brazilian driver coming in.
Yeah, well, he's doing a job here on the rest of the guys. He's coming in early. Oh, as we see Hunter McDaniel missing his pit stall. That you don't want to do. That's going to cost time.
And now the California driver, Sean Bounty, going to come in. He was running in 5th. And the caution. This might play out for these guys who just come in. It was Junior Border-Mamela. Bordorima. We came close out of the first time. I think it was closer the second time. Junior Borima has a little bit of a loop.
Well, now, this is going to be really interesting because we had Rafael Mata in the pits just before that caution came out. Where will he slot in when he comes out of the pits?
We might want to look at that from the cockpit of Brian Barnes. Do we still have it up? Yeah. Okay, the yellow is out. Now, how is this? Some of these drivers came in. Remember, the Brazilian driver came in and the California driver came in.
Gordon Bandy and not Jacob Klein, Rafael Mata.
All right, here we go. Now, watch this. We're going to look at this from the cockpit of Brian Barnes. Watch the view he has in front of him. Woo-hoo! Just gets around that car.
Oh, boy. That is a pucker moment if I ever saw one.
And that's important. Barnes currently scored in 2nd. But again, all these drivers, most of the field is going to have to come in. In fact, here come Barnes right now.
Yeah, Barnes going into the pits now.
Klein also in, so here they come.
Yeah, this is the last pit stop of the race, no doubt. And if it goes green all the way from here on in, it's going to be very interesting. Let's wait until this all shakes out, and then we'll see who is in the first position. Currently, it looks like that Sean Brightman will be behind the pace car when the pace car... Where is the pace car? Let's go and find the pace car.
Well, I would think that those guys, Brightsman had not come in yet. I don't believe, if I look up here.
No, he hasn't.
What I think happened was, I think Mata is going to get stuck a lap down because Rafael came in earlier, and so he didn't really benefit. The guy who benefited on this was Sean Bundy, the California, Boundy. That's going to be Boundy. He came in just as the yellow flew, so I think he's not going to lose any time. He's going to be your leader. And he's fast.
It's a tragedy, a possible tragedy for Rafael Mata because he was sitting in the pits when the yellow came out, and that does not advantage you when that happens at all. So he is the big loser here from first. Possibly he will have to be right at the tail because he'll get the wave around when we get one to go. But we'll have to wait and see, Bill. I'm not sure how this is going to play out.
I think the man who came in, this is my guess, I think the man who came in from the lead, Rafael Mata, I think he's going to have to go all the way around. I think he's going to be scored in about 14th or 15th position.
Yeah.
We'll see for sure. I think your leader is going to be Boundy.
Klein will be the leader.
Klein will be the leader. Did he make a stop? I guess he has made his stop. Okay.
And it looks like Brian Barnes might end up... Brian Barnes being showed on second place. So we'll wait till they cross the line.
Yeah. So the big names who are in front of the leader right now, stuck behind the pace car. Sean Brietzman, Mark Waltz, we've seen them up front. I apologize. Sean Bundy is in 14th position. He's going to get the wave around as well, so I was wrong about that. Chris Beck also going to get the wave around.
And guess what, Bill? This has shades of the beginning of the race where we see Brightsman and Waltz up front, both drivers from the Northwest Club in positions 1 and 2. They will be the front row coming up to the restart. And the big loser, I feel so bad for Rafael Mata. He chose to come into the pits at the worst possible moment for him.
Jacob Klein, the New York driver, we expect to take the probably inside position here, so he'll get to choose his spot. Looks like Brian Barnes
Oh
is
no,
gonna
hang
line
on.
up outside of him.
Hang on, cars being waved by the pace car at the moment. The top two drivers, Brightsman and Waltz, rushing past the pace car, as indeed is Boundy as well.
Yeah, it's going to be Klein and Barnes, we believe, 1 and 2, as everyone goes around there.
Yeah, this is great stuff. So Jacob Klein from the New York club, the 1, 2, 3 in disguise there. He will have Brian Barnes on his outside from Northwest. Then the second row looks like it's going to be Dee Palmer and Carl Burke, both from Northwest as well. And then we've got Ricky Bowser and Kyle Young. Kyle Young from New York, right up there in position 6. This is good stuff, Bill.
Very, very interesting. As the pace car, the lights are off, is going to pull in. We're going to watch the front, but we're also going to try to keep an eye on those guys who we know are fast, that are at the back of the line back there. So it's going to be guys trying to stay out in front and trying to get to the front. The pace car pulls in. Lap number 62, they'll be lurking lap number 63 right now. Your leader pacing him, Jacob Klein from New York. 1, 2, 3, and he's got it going.
Okay, so we're on lap number 63. So 27 laps to go in this race. I am sitting here on the Rafael Mata's car. Rafael Mata from Brazil, as he's trying to move forward. He started in the restart in 12th place. Now we're getting to the money part of the race, Bill, and it's quite possible that we'll see more portions happening from this point on. As we see there, Rafael Mata just making every post a winner at the moment. He's a long way from the front as yet, so we'll just keep an eye on him. But, Bill, over to you, the race leaders.
And also the guys to keep an eye on. We'll move up just a little bit. We won't go quite up to the front. How about 10th position, Sean Briesman? We know he's fast right now. He's working behind. That's a lap car he's trying to get around. So Briesman in that 46 machine, trying to get up there. We know he's been running up front. He qualified fast. We know he's fast. Meanwhile, a pass for the lead right now, looking on the inside of the 1, 2, 3. Not going to happen.
Jacob Klein in the lead of this race at the moment in the 1, 2, 3 machine. And Brian Barnes stalking him in second place. Behind them, there's a small gap there, about 0.8 of a second to Dee Palmer. And then we've got Carl Burke.
Okay, Mark Waltz may be involved in it. Your fast leader, Waltz, got into the back of the 42 car of my goodness. It kept, then he got tangled up. Mata gets into it with Waltz. Also brought in as Walzenbach got into it. This happened way back, though. This happened farther back because I caught it very early.
Yeah, let's have another look at it. But just a quick note, we're on replay at the moment, and we're going to have a caution.
Waltz gets in it. He gets tangled up with one car, then he loses momentum, then he gets into it again. We talked about Waltz was on the move, remember, because he got pushed back from the pit shredder. There's the first little combination. Then he loops it, and then all heck breaks loose then.
Yeah, because they're all over the track then, and the drivers following them have nowhere to go, and a big ugly incident. A number of cars involved there, and one of the early favorites in the race there, taken out. That was Britsman involved there, did you say?
Mark Waltz was your pole sitter. And
yes,
so
indeed.
He got shuffled into the back there, and then he got into a little bit of contact. Remember, he was hustling his way through. The first car he made contact was with the 42. And then he came back up on the track, and then when he comes back up on the track, then he clips, I believe he clips Mata. So that took both of those guys out. Now, Mata didn't have the qualifying time, but we know he was fast, so Waltz is in the pits. Remember, these points matter for Northwest. These are all lost points.
Yeah, exactly right. And at the moment, on the first position, the car number 1, 2, 3 from New York, Jacob Klein in the lead of this race now. At the beginning, you would not have thought Jacob Klein would be leading this race with only 22, 23 laps to go. But there he is, and behind him we then have a Northwest driver, D. Palmer, but it's not your pole sitter, Mark Waltz. It's not your second place getter, Britsman. It is one of the drivers that was further back. Also from Northwest is Carl Burke. He will be in third position on this restart. These guys will certainly not pit. They don't want to impede their chances. They pitted just before this anyway, so they are good to go to the end of the race, Bill.
Well, some drivers at the back that decided to come in that we'll have to keep an eye on now. Remember, there's about 7 laps of green flag racing on these tires. Brian Barnes decided to come in. So right now he's currently running in 14th position, but he's going to have fresh rubber. Also, Sean Brietzman, we know he's fast. He's been running up front. Hunter McDaniels also came in. Now, I don't think any of those cars were involved in the incident. I think they were just running to the back. They had little to lose to come in and top off. They're going to be at the back of all the cars that are on the lead lap. So we'll keep an eye on those guys. Meanwhile, the New York driver, Jacob Klein, still out in front. You want to run down your groups here? You got New York, then 3 Northwest drivers, then 2 New York drivers, a couple more Northwest, and then we get back to 9th position there, Sean Bounty, and then a Brazilian driver back in there, Rafael Mata. So even though Mata was caught up in that incident, he's staying out there.
Well, Rafael Mata may have gained from this whole situation that occurred, because he is in 10th position now on this restart. They're going to be going to the flag, to the checkered flag in a few laps time, and Jacob Klein. So actually, let me say that one of the drivers I want to watch in this last stint here would be Carl Young, another New York driver. It's good to see everyone mixing it up as they start to take shape. Now the lights are out on the pace car. We will get a restart on the next lap through. And first and second, Jacob Klein, D. Palmer, the second row being all Northwest there, Carl Burke, Ricky Bozer. Then we've got Carl Young and kind of a new name there, Bill, Timothy Campbell in the third row.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Timothy Campbell. Campbell running in 6th right now from New York.
Yeah.
He has an I rating of 1375. There's a man that's close to my I rating there. Got to pull for him.
Does he belong to Backmarkers United? That's what I want to know.
Oh, sometimes those guys with low I ratings are sandbaggers. I don't trust them. All right.
Now,
go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, I just want to say, drivers we want to watch on the restart here as we're getting close to that restart. Rafael Mata. So keep an eye on Rafael to see what he's going to do. And of course, we want to keep an eye on Jacob Klein in the lead as well. Back to you, Bill.
Pace car is in. Klein really backs him up. Really was late going. The number 53 of Burke had almost got into the back of 1, 2, 3 out in front, and that is Jacob Klein. On the inside now, in the 53 machine, that's Carl Burke. And look at the guy stuck on the high side. Kyle Young, like Richard said, having a great run in the 93. The poor number 23 of D. Palmer stuck on the high side, and that car just will not go up there. Way high is the 53. That's going to leave room for Bond to try this weekend. They're not going to fit. It didn't fit, and they all caught up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars involved.
Oh dear. That's a big one. That is the big one.
They're still crashing as I speak.
Dear. And just for the viewers, the yellow flag is out, caution flag. We have another caution. This is it, Bill. Everyone fighting position. They know that it's only 10 laps to go. So by the end of this caution, let's say the caution is at least 4 laps, you are going to see a sprint to the finish of about 5 or 6 laps. That is going to be bad.
Just to talk about the crash, what happened was the 53 of Carl Burke went high. And that left the door open for 23. D. Palmer thought he could squeeze in there, make it 3 wide. It didn't work as Burke came down on him. Then, when you have 2 cars that start to spin at the front of the pack, after just going green, that's a recipe for the big one. I mean, that's it. Let's have a restart and the cars up front get together. My goodness.
Yeah. Well, the big winner out of all of that is Carl Young. Look at Carl. He's now up to 2nd position. Jacob Klein maintained that first position. He was not involved in any of the shenanigans that were going on behind him. And now look at what the second row will look like in the sprint to the finish. Bill, our friend Rafael Mata from Brazil, right up there, and Ricky Bowser, the lone Northwest driver in the top 4 there. Let's see who's the 5th driver. He's another Northwest driver. So top 5 will be 2 Northwest, a Brazilian driver, and 2 New York drivers. No California in there, unfortunately, but this is shaping up to be one heck of a finish, Bill.
What you have here now are 2 races in one. You have a race to lap number 5. Why lap number 5? Because that's the lap where if a yellow flag comes out, they're going to freeze the positions and call the race right there. So you want to be ahead at lap number 5. Then you have a race to the checkered flag. We don't know if we're going to get there or not. There's a lot of aggressive drivers out there right now. One driver, Kyle Young, that we talked about sitting in second, I bet you if we could go on there and get into Kyle's head inside his helmet right now, I bet you he'd say, I wish I was in third. I don't know if he wants to be on the high side. It sure didn't work well for his competitors.
Yeah, it's not a great starting position to be on the outside in this. A driver we are going to have to watch was the second place getter, the second place qualifier, I should say, Sean Brightsman. He is down, Bill, in 6th position. We know he's fast. We know he qualified well. He is from Northwest. He wants to be up near the front. He could be somebody that could get to the front from where he is, even in 6th position, but he could also be one of the drivers that, with some aggression, could cause another calamity. Let's hope that does not happen, but you have to say it's going to be exciting no matter which way we cut it.
Remember, Sean Brightsman was one of the drivers we highlighted that came in at the last yellow flag from the back and got fresh tires. So Brightsman is out there right now running in 6th outside of row 3 on fresh rubber, or at least fresher rubber than the guys in front of him. Can he make the high side work? We'll keep an eye and watch out for that car number, Brightsman Racing, car number 46. Watch him on the outside of row 3. What he does, the lights stay on. Jacob Klein doing a little dipsy-do there, trying to pretend like he's coming in for a pit. That fool absolutely nobody, Jacob, but it was fun to watch.
Nobody's coming in at this point in time. Absolutely not. Lights still out as they cross the line there. So the lights go out now, and so this is 1 to go. And you want to be Jacob Klein in this position, because if there's a caution, he's going to be the winner. There's no question about it. Not enough time left after the restart here to have another racing lap after a caution if one does come out. 2 New York drivers, Bill, and then we go to Ricky Bowser. Now, Ricky Bowser is the Northwest representative in the top 5 here. Rafael Mata would want to have something to say. Rafael will have to dive to the inside if he can do that. Chris Beck in position number 5 will have something to say about that. He's on the inside, so it looks like the Northwest drivers are on the inside on this restart. And of course, the one New York driver, Carl Young, stuck on the outside. What can he do? It's going to be an extremely exciting finish. Bill, let's go to you for this restart, and let's hope it's clean.
Lap number 74, 7 laps to go, 6 to go when they cross the line. Out in front, it's doing fine. Jacob Klein going to lead him to the checkered, lead him to the green flag here. Watch Klein. He likes to hold him back. He really likes to hold him. He's holding him. He's holding him. Boy, he's really holding him. And there's a check up from behind. The 46 gets in the back of the 27. Remember, that's the Brazilian. No, that's the guy we talked about, Sean Briesman back there. He's got new rubber. Meanwhile, out in front, Jacob Klein. Kyle Young gets to tip that 93 down. He didn't get burned. Go ahead, Rich.
And what's matter? I was just going to say, what's matter? He gets the jump on the other drivers. He goes past Carl Young in the 93 machine right now as we speak. Well, not quite done yet, but he's on the inside and he's heading after Jacob Klein in first position. Jacob Klein doing a fantastic job in first position. Carl Young trying to hang on to second but can't do it. He now has to fall back into third position. Great drive from Rafael Mata.
The best thing that happened to Jacob Klein was the battle that Mata was having with Young. Young now stuck on the high side. Here comes Breitsman. Remember, he's got the new rubber. Breitsman on the inside of Young, trying to move up to third. Crossing the line right now, it's still Jacob Klein, and he's got about a 5-car length lead. He comes across, and there are 4 to go. That's going to be about 6 miles. Go ahead, Rich.
And it's Carl Young under siege now from Sean Breitsman. Sean Breitsman takes that position from him. Carl Young trying to fight back, but he's stuck on the high side there, and he's fighting well from that position. But as you said, Breitsman on fresher rubber. Mata is the one to watch at the moment. He's after Jacob Klein and doing a fantastic job. Can Brazil win this race? Can Jacob Klein from New York win this race? Can Carl Young get his position back? This is all questions that will be answered in the next couple of laps, Bill.
New York ahead of Brazil right now. Klein ahead of Mata. Klein out there trying to be smooth as dolphin skin as he keeps the car hugging down to the white line. Here comes the Brazilian driver of Mata. He gets a good drive off of 4. They come across the start-finish line. He's not going to have it this time. There's going to be 2 to go. 3 miles from here. Klein out in front. Look at the driver now from the northwest. That's the 46 of Breitsman. Dips it to the inside. Can he make room? He tries to push the Brazilian driver high. The 27 driver makes room. They lose momentum. That's going to leave room for number 93. Two New York drivers inside the top 4 right now. New York in first. New York in fourth, sandwiching a Brazilian and a Northwestern driver. Getting loose with Breitsman. 1 to go from here. Here comes the New York driver up in front now. It looks like it's going to be his to win. Jacob Klein is not being challenged.
No, he's not. This is because the battle's behind him between Breitsman and Mata. And Mata now has got the inside line. Only meters to go on lap number 80. Breitsman on the outside challenging. This is perhaps not the best place to be. Mata goes up.
The Group D winner is going to be Jacob Klein. Second place is going to go to Mata from Brazil. New York is going to finish in first. Brazil in second. Third position goes to New York. Kyle Young gets it. Breitsman spins into the infield. It's going to finish in fourth. Maybe we can get that on replay.
Yes, indeed. It's coming up now. Breitsman lost at the meters from the line and basically spun his car over the line. Have a look at it on replay. Spectacular stuff.
My, oh my, and what we're going to do is run down the final standings before we go to break because we won't be able to do it. Oh, we're able to do it after the break, we hear. Okay. So, but let me just give you a quick look at the top 5 right now. New York, Brazil, New York, Northwestern, and Brazil. You know, we talked about the dominance of the Northwest. Well, they're really not in there. Only 3 drivers in the top 10 and 1 in the top 5. This is the Global Sim Racing Channel. We're going to take a short break, then we'll be back to do run down the entire standings. And are we doing driver interviews as well, Director? Possibly maybe driver interviews and then close-up shop. And then we will be back in a little while later to do the road race from Imola. Back in just a few. along with myself, Bill Soupson, here for the Global Sim Racing Channel, calling Group D of the iRacing World Cup. This was the round one oval part of the first half that kicked off the Group D. Of course, we'll be coming back in a little bit for a 50-minute road course from the twisty track at Imola. But right now, let's go ahead and run down your final standings. And boy, it did shake up a little bit. Look up there and you can see, along with those standings, pay attention to the name, but even more so, Richard, maybe viewers, pay attention to the clubs over there next to him. Your winner, Jacob Klein. What an impressive run for the New York driver. Brazil scores next with Rafael Mata. Then we come back with another Big Appler, Kyle Young, in third. We have to go all the way down to fourth position till we go to somebody from the Northwest, Sean Breitsman. Fifth position, another Brazilian driver. We saw him early have trouble fall back and get back up in the top fifth. That's Raul Saraiva. Then Ricky Bozer from the Northwest. Alisson Piera, we didn't say much about him, another Brazilian driver. I don't think, Richard, we called his name once. In seventh, Michael Kearns, another New York driver. In eighth, Brian Barnes and Chris Beck, two Northwest drivers, round out the top 10. Three New York drivers in the top 10, three Brazilian drivers in the top 10, four Northwest drivers in the top 10. Richard, who do you got in the next set?
Okay, going to 11th place now, we have D. Palmer from Northwest. In 12th place, Jared Morgan, also from Northwest. Then in 13th place, Marcos Bica from Brazil. Then Chad M. Barker, 14th place from Northwest. Junior Borborama from Brazil in 15th place. Mark Waltz, our pole sitter, ended up in 16th place. He's from Northwest. Wayne Hutchinson in 17th place from Northwest. 18th place, Timothy Campbell from New York in 18th, as we said. Sean Boundy from California, he was up as close as 5th place at one stage. He finished up in 19th place. Lone California driver in the top 20. And indeed, the 20th position, Hunter McDaniel, who we were following early as well. He's from New York. Go ahead, Bill.
And before I read this next group, I'd like to remind everybody that if you go to our YouTube channel, our TeamSpeak address is in there. Come and talk to us right now if you'd like to talk about the race. If you were a driver, if you were a fan of one of the drivers in the race, if you were a family member of one of the drivers, if you just want to talk recipes about how to make a good shepherd pie, come on in. We'll talk about anything right now. We have some time to fill before the road race. Hitting blackjack, Carl Burke, again from the guy up. If you look on the map, it's to the left and top. Leonardo Santos from down there below the equator for the Brazilian driver. Alexander Montanelli, another Brazilian driver, in 23rd, hitting the double dozen spot. Get to work on all my Portuguese here. Lecio Lete. Then you get to a New York driver, Mario Gonzalez. Another guy from the Golden State, Matthew Walzenbach, not happy about some of the incidents that happened to him. He'd like to see somebody at least get his wrist slapped a little bit. They'll look into that one. And then your final driver from the Big Apple, Tall LaMountain. Oh, I like that, LaMountain. Okay, Richard, we started off thinking that the Northwest was just going to crush everybody. They seemed so dominant, but when you look at the final standings, the only reason that the Northwest might have more points going into the road race is because they just have more drivers.
Yeah, that's quite correct. We had Waltz and Breitsman dominating the qualifying, starting off in first and second position. And really, early on, they were the only guys that were doing well. Others were all behind them. Then we saw the likes of Rafael Mata come through, Raul Saraiva start challenging, and then we had some of the New York drivers showing their stuff. And throughout the race, there were various drivers that were doing well. But at the end of the race, it was Jacob Klein and Kyle Young from New York that showed the way for their club, and Rafael Mata from Brazil that really was very exciting to watch. And he came through from about 6th or 7th position in those final few laps, Bill, and did a fantastic job to get up into second place. The best of the Northwest Club, Sean Brightsman, he actually spun his car about 100 meters out from the finish line, and he was just a passenger as he managed to get over the line for that fourth position.
Hey, well, I can update you here with some numbers, and this is pretty easy. We said we wanted an upset, and we got one, but it's not quite the one we expected. Here's some updated from the forums right now. So the winning team so far was the Northwest team. They scored 212 points, and we'll see if we can get these on an overlay for you when we come back for the road race. But right now, we'll give you this one. So it's really not a surprise to see Northwest out in front with 212. And it kind of reminds me, when it comes to scoring here, it reminds me of an old joke my dad used to tell me when I was a little boy, and it would go something like this. It's not a very funny joke, but it is. The farmer says to another farmer, "My white sheep eat more than my black sheep." And the other farmer says, "Well, why is that?" And the first farmer says, "Well, because I have more white sheep than black sheep." And that's kind of what goes on here. The Northwest scored more than New York. Well, why is that? Because they had more drivers. Even though they didn't get the points up front, they made up the points farther down in 8th, 9th, and 10th position. So you want to hear about the upset? Here it is. New York comes in on this thinking about maybe they could challenge for the win. Not so fast. How about those guys from the continent, not down under like Richards, but the other one that's below the equator, that other big one, Brazil, that nice one from South America there, 484 points, well within striking distance of Northwest, especially, Richard, when you consider that Brazil its forte is the twisty road courses.
Absolutely, and that's what we're going to be looking at next. It'll be coming to you live from the Global Sim Racing channel at Imola. So we're heading all the way over to Italy, and we are going to be watching a road race. And you're quite right, the Brazilian drivers should be better on the road course than some of the others. But if this race is anything to go by, Bill, and we've seen an upset win here, I guess we could say, although I'm sure Jacob Klein will not be calling that an upset win. Certainly, it was the Northwest team was expected to be up front, and that was not the case. So, all very, very interesting stuff. I must say, Bill, I enjoyed this race immensely. It was tight racing. It was good racing. We had how many cautions? I think there were but 3 or 4 cautions, which is better than a lot of oval races we see that we call here on the Global Sim Racing channel, don't you think?
Yeah, it was a very exciting race. And just to finish out the points, as we talked about, Northwest out in front, 612, Brazil 484. Oh, and we're going to be able to get the points on screen because our director is multi-talented. Not only can he race fast.
Fantastic.
There you go. You can see it right there. Look at that. So let's follow up that. There's New York with 415 points. And if you can just look at that, you can see on the Northwest team, you can see this the number of drivers that they had that they were able to chip in on. If Northwest could only have had another 2 drivers out there, if Brazil could have just filled it a couple more, they'd been in the running. But don't give up hope yet, guys, because Brazil only back, if I can do this math, it looks like 128 points more or less from Northwest. They could easily make that up when it comes to the road course. Richard, well, let's talk about population here and the attendance for all these. You think that one of the things that the series managers might be able to do is maybe change the car choice, might bring in a few more drivers?
I think that is quite important. If we look at what car they'll be racing at Imola, it's going to be that muscle car, the Corvette C6R, which is not a car being driven by a lot of drivers here in the sim racing community. So I think you want to be able to choose a mid-range car, perhaps not even a GT3 car. The Corvette, of course, is a GT1 car. And perhaps go further down, maybe a Mustang or goodness me, I mean, you could even choose one of the smaller cars because, quite frankly, let's be honest, the small cars make up the majority of iRacing drivers, and they don't get an opportunity to show off their wares in a World Cup event.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Do you think the big names, because iRacing is looking for the big names, do you think the guys that are pro drivers or the A-class drivers that are almost pro drivers, do you think they'd be willing to come down and race those underpowered cars?
I'm certain they would. You take a car perhaps like, say, the Renault 2. If you look at who's racing the Renault 2, there's everybody and anybody who's anybody racing that car. So even if you chose, let's say, the MX-5 for one of the events, have a look at what happened recently in the global MX-5 combined competition, where there was $100,000 at stake. In fact, it's still at stake. You saw a number of pro drivers in that race looking to try and win that 100,000 because that would launch them into a real life career. So I don't think it's a matter of which car you race. It's a matter of what's at stake. And if you want to have an event that fills 60 cars for a World Cup, I think you want to go to one of the smaller cars, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, $100,000 to get me to enter a cow milking contest. So if they want to, that always is nice, inspire a little. Show me the lettuce. All right, what we're going to do here at the Global Sim Racing Channel, we're going to take a short break, but don't go away. We're going to stay on the air. We're going to have this, we'll be back soon, graphic up there. And the reason we're having that is because we're going to get things set up. All these drivers are going to reload up, and we're going to go fly over to Italy, and we're going to do a 50-minute timed race on the beautiful racetrack that is Imola. Let's see how many of these Brazilian drivers come over, put a pasting on the Northwest and New York drivers, and maybe we have an upset. This is Bill Zahn along with Richard Losper. We'll be back in just a few. Global Sim Racing Channel. We're kind of in the middle here between two races, so we thought we'd come back on the air and have a quick interview with Jared Morgan. Races for the Northwest Club, finishes 12th today. Jared, I know 12th is probably not what you wanted, but any little points, that's going to be the difference of getting that team to the finals.
Are you kidding? I was called in as an alternate. 12th is great.
Are you going to rate? You called it. Look at the organization. And, one of the things we don't talk much about is it's really a matter of the drivers, but also it's almost a reward to the club organizers. And Northwest certainly does a good job of getting their act together, don't they?
They do. This is the first time I've run the World Cup, and Mike has our guys, Chris Beck too, has us all lined up exactly where he wants us.
Now, are you going to come through and are you racing the road race, or are you off the hook for that one?
I'm actually going to hop over, and my doubleheader is going to involve the Intimidator tonight.
Oh, you're doing that other one over there. Well, good luck on that one. Let's talk about the race that this went through. Pretty darn exciting race. Those Brazilians were pretty good as well.
Yeah, they were giving us a run for our money. We were worried about them putting the bumpers and fenders to us, so we kind of let them burn their stuff off.
How much did the tires go away? Well, let me ask you this. One of the things I was wondering about, was there enough fuel to do it on a one stop if the thing went green all the way, or did you have to stop twice?
According to Wall's fuel calculations, we could have done it on one stop, but for the sake of the setup, we went in a second and sometimes a third time just to make sure we had the balance.
We were looking at lap times, and by the end of like a 20-lap stint, the laps were about 2 seconds slower.
The fall off was insane. First run for me started out super loose, and then it got real tight. After I finally learned how to drive the car, it really wasn't as terrible.
What about low line and high line? Was it the high line faster as the tires wouldn't keep you down low as they got older?
Not so sure about faster, but it sure felt more comfortable in my car. I'm not sure about the front runners, though.
How close did you come to getting caught up in that big one at the end?
Me and Brian Barnes were both a little closer than we wanted to be, but we both got through okay.
Very, very good. What's your car of choice?
I run the number 96 Ford Fusion. If you actually probably remember it from the Pacific Majors division.
So but as far as if you had a choice of what you'd like to race, you like the Gen 6 machine the best.
Every time. If you ask me what car I'd like to remove from the service, it's always going to be the Dollara.
Well, if you race over there in the Pac Majors, though, they make you race did you race? We did it for viewers. The Pac Majors is a great series where they basically kind of give tribute to all the major races throughout the year, different tracks with the cars that race there. Were you happen to be at the Bathurst race? Did you do that?
Yes, I did. I actually did a lot better than I expected. I still crashed early, but I made a whole nother 10 laps than I figured I would.
So what is the is this the Eliminator? What's the name of the session you're going to race in now?
Intimidator. It's
the Intimidator.
The
what is that? What's that all about?
From what I'm collecting, we're running the Gen 5 car up tomorrow at Talladega.
I got it. And do all the drivers have to have black schemes and race number 3?
I don't know about that. I'm running my own color scheme, carrying my 2017 sponsors, which I didn't get a chance to announce this at the majors, but I signed Dairy Queen on board here this past couple months.
Oh, good for you. Yeah, I'm from California. We don't have many Dairy Queens out here anymore, but I'm glad they have those up in Washington.
Oregon, close.
Oregon, okay. Hey, man, well, thanks for coming and talking with us. Good luck over there in the Intimidator format, and good luck to your club, and see if they can get themselves into the finals. And my goodness, do you think you got anything for this going to be exciting. It's the Finns and we heard an interview today, the UK is on fire. They really want this bad. And then, of course, there's the German team that's always tough. Boy, it's going to be hard work for you guys.
Hey, if we can get in the finals like we did last year, I think we might, as a crew, have something for them. As a me driver, I don't know.
Man, I wish that was tomorrow. All right, man. Thank you, Jared, for talking with us, and we'll see you down the road, buddy.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later.
Jared Morgan, your 12th place finisher today. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to take another short break and try to get everything set up here, get all of our ducks in a row, all of our P's and Q's minded, and then we'll be back to bring you 50 minutes of racing from Imola. Back in just a few. Hi, this is the Global Sim Racing Channel. Bill Soup's on back here with Richard Losker and Amjad Yaman in the director's van. We're going to talk to you a little bit about what's coming on, then we'll take another short break before this race gets officially underway here in about 10 minutes or so. Richard, both you and I spent some time racing Imola, which I like Imola. I like the track, but I just had a hard time in the big heavy Corvette, and I think you kind of feel the same way.
I do indeed, and very good day once again to all our viewers. This is a very heavy car. To me, it's reminiscent of those muscle cars from the 60s and 70s and 80s, Bill. You know the ones I'm talking about, the really big, heavy cars that had lots of power. In fact, too much power, no brakes, so you couldn't stop the things. And this just reminds me of that car. So it's going to be a handful at a track like Imola, which we know is a very technical track. Like you, I really do like the track, but the car, you will see, just looking at some of the early practice laps here, not a lot of people really smooth in this car. It takes a lot of work, Bill, to keep this car on the track, believe me, and I certainly failed. I did some laps at Le Mans in preparation for the 24-hour race there. And I had to throw up my hands. It's you know, I just couldn't get to grips with the handling of this car. Couldn't find a setup that actually worked. The brake bias is really hard to get right, so the car stops and doesn't lock up the rear wheels. So all in all, a very difficult machine to drive.
Talk about those big muscle cars. I had two older brothers when I was growing up. One of them saved up his money working in the gas station, bought himself an old Porsche. Another one saved up his money, bought himself an AMC Barracuda. And one car was very fast going twisty sections, one car very fast going straight. I do know one car was more effective with finding the attention of women. And apparently girls like to go fast. They don't like to go around curves so fast, but they like to go fast. My Plymouth Arrow did not work either way for me. It wasn't fast going around corners or straight or picking up women as well. So that's less.
Well, yeah, in Australia, let me tell you that the fast cars didn't cut it. You had to have a van with no windows and a really big stereo with music that could come thumping out and sort of drown everything else around you. That was what got people excited, and the girls just love to come and spend some time taking in the music in your van with the closed windows.
Well, before we elaborate on that, maybe I better talk about some of the drivers here that are starting to sign up. Remember, Brazil made a late entry here before. Looking at it now, I see 4 Brazilian drivers that are already up. Remember, it's still a ways to go here before we get to the race. New York, how are we going to fare this time? 2, 4, 6, 8. Ooh, much better. Looks like, well, let me do this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drivers. Nice job. Northwest, I expect to have a full complement of drivers. Let's get right now in there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as well. But I think they'll probably have a full amount. You know, we talked about those points, and we're going to bring them up a little bit more when we officially come back for the show. But there is a real chance that we could have, if Northwest has trouble here, real chance that Brazil could sneak into this one. They are within striking distance, only about 100, and I think, about 20 points behind.
Well, that's right, Bill. I think the big thing here is going to be how people drive this car. So I'm not sure if any of the drivers have a lot of experience in this car, but we do know that the Europeans do like these big cars, and we see that in the official series. You'll find that the Europeans do go for these rather large vehicles. So at the moment we need to get more Brazilians in there. We've got a nice group of New Yorkers. I see Edward Doherty in there. A few other people that I do know as well. Jacob Klein, our winner of the last race in New York, he's in here, so he's come back. Chris Beck as well. And for Northwest, we've got Jimbo Pfeiffer. You'll know who Jimbo Pfeiffer is, Bill.
Jimbo, definitely from the Pack Majors Club. Of course, Pac Majors is one of the clubs that started up there. It's called the Pacific Majors for being up in the Pacific Northwest of the United States. Now they've opened that up. We race Pac Majors. You can see them on GSRC alternating Sundays starting in 2017. Maybe every three Sundays. They're going to open up. They've started off as the Pacific Majors, then they open it up to the California group as well, and the Western and Texas is also in there. And now it's going to be, they're going to bring in Canada as well, and I believe the Plains states. So it gets a little bit bigger every time. That's something that happens here when you broadcast with GSRC. Not only does we try to do the best job for you, but we also bring a lot of attention to your series. If you want your series to succeed, give us a call. We'd be happy to squeeze you into our schedule.
Well, we'll try to squeeze you in anyway because we are becoming reasonably popular, and I think that's a good thing. And we are trying to broadcast as many different types of cars as we can. So we do what we can. But I'm been watching the practice session, the early practice session here as the cars go around. I see Brian Bennett out there for Northwest as well. I know he's a GT3 aficionado, so he should do well. Having a look at some of the other drivers around here, it's going to be an interesting race, Bill. I'm looking forward to it.
And of course, we'll be going off the air here for just a second, then we'll be coming back with our official opening to the road race. So you won't want to miss that. And just to follow up a little bit about GSRC and the friends that also help us, we'd like to thank everybody of Max Speed TV for covering that early race, the A group, and then of course RaceSpot was kind enough to do the B group and invite us to do C and D. And if you really want to watch something exciting, RaceSpot does a good job of doing these races as well. They'll be back next week to cover the final, so check in with them. Tell them Soup sent you. Maybe they'll give you a better seat.
And allow me also to mention that there are other friends of ours in the broadcasting business, V8 Online. They helped out with the endurance races, the 24-hour endurance races. We were involved there as well. So plenty of different types of racing. We do ovals, we do road races, we do short tracks, we do long tracks. We really don't care what people want to race. We have people who know just about all the cars. Our directors are experts at what they do. The best camera shots come from Dougie Beard. No question about that. So we are proud of what we do, aren't we, Bill?
Yeah, and actually, all the announcers, when we heard that we were going to be involved in this event in particular, we were all very excited because we know the hard work that Mike Willett puts in. If there's a better series organizer around, I don't know who it is. Mike gets a lot of heat for trying to get this. There's nobody complains more than an iRacer, but to get the whole globe united, and he does a real good job. I personally would like to give him a nice shout out there, Mike. I appreciate the work you do. It is a thankless job, so let me try to give you thanks to try to make up for all the grief you go through. Hey, Richard, I think maybe right now what we'll do is take a short break, and then we'll get everything set up, everything in a row, get all of our ducks in line, everything organized, and we'll come back for the official opening for the road race. We'll be back in just a few. If you're just joining us, let me offer you a welcome. If you've been with us from the beginning, let me offer you a welcome back. This is the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the iRacing World Cup Group D. The clubs of the Northwest, New York, Brazil, and California all battling for that last spot in the Final Four. The oval portion is in the books, so now the World Cup travels across the Atlantic to Italy, where we look down at Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari, more simply known as Imola, which today plays host to the second half of the Group D round. Richard, tell us a little bit about this track.
And a very good day once again to our viewers. Imola, let's just call it Imola for verity. Now, it is a tough track. There are 3 horrible chicanes. The first one is when you come off the start-finish line and go around a straight section of the course. You come to the Tamburello chicane. Not too bad, but in these cars it's going to be tough. Then you go all the way around and you've got second chicane with Villeneuve, and that's an open chicane. Another thing people have to be worried about on this track, Bill, is the fact that there are these raised, it's a peculiar Italian thing. Monza has it as well, these raised sections on the corners, on the curbs, so they just like sausage, look like big sausages on the curbs there, and they can really unsettle a car when you go over them. So they have to look out for that. We have a hairpin there at Tosa, which is very tough to negotiate with any kind of speed. And then you go around to a fairly, what looks like an open section, the Piratella bend, but it's really tricky because it's really off camber, and you can fall off on the right hand side and go into the walls there. And then you come down to the Acqua Minerale, which is a tough set of corners. And then again, the worst chicane that I have ever experienced, excepting possibly for one at Montreal, the Variante Alta, or the Alta chicane. And then you go through 2 90-degree corners, the Ravazza, and back onto the front straight. So a really tough track. The cars are going to have a lot of difficulty in negotiating this track. And let's have a look at your own Amjad Yaman doing a lap around the track to see what it's going to be like.
All right, we've got Amjad Yaman in the GSRC Corvette, so let's do a lap around Imola. Across the start-finish line, you'll just straighten out the track as it weaves back and forth. Just be careful as you line up to the right, because there's a little kink in the braking zone that makes it easy to dip a wheel into the grass. Now, the Tamburello chicane has 3 apexes, but you want to hold tight on the first 2 to give yourself a wider entry into the third. Watch out for the sausage curbs as well, because they can badly upset the car. From there, hold right and spot your brake marker for Villeneuve. The first apex is much faster, which makes setting up for the second one pretty tricky. With it tightening up, it won't be uncommon to see cars go wide into the kitty litter. After that, it's a short burst to Tosa. Throttle control around this hairpin will be a very valuable skill indeed, because a good launch up the hill will be super important to keep yourself safe from attack. Anyone greedy enough to induce wheel spin is going to be losing time hand over fist. Hold right over the blind crest, and then get on the brakes for Piratella. The paved runoff to the outside will save the car, but it will cost you in lap time. Then it's a quick run to Aqua Minerale. Just like Villeneuve, the first part of this double apexer is used to slow your car down and line it up right. The second apex is inviting to overdrive, but go too wide and you'll get a slowdown penalty. That's going to hurt especially bad with another uphill climb that leads into a heavy braking zone. The Alta chicane is extremely tight and fiddly, so I wouldn't recommend trying to stay too wide. The tall curbs are punishing, and clobbering them too hard can send you flying off track. From there, the circuit weaves once more as it comes back downhill for the final time of the lap. Hold to the right and get the car straightened out for the braking into Ravazza. Coming in here too hot is easy with the dropping elevation on entry, but the exit is the critical part of this 2-part corner because it brings you back onto the main straight. The braking for Tamburello is probably your best chance for an overtake, so you don't want to slow exit out of that last turn. But as we come to the line, we've now finished a lap around Imola.
Joe Peak talks us around Imola. You know, one of the unique features of this place is as a result of the Coriolis effect. Now, you know, that's the thing that makes hurricanes go clockwise and typhoons go counterclockwise, or maybe vice versa. I'm not quite sure how that works, but what I do know is this is one of the few tracks that circulate in a counterclockwise motion. So if you look at it from above, the cars will be making mostly left-hand turns, although there are plenty of twisty sections here. But as a rule, it's going around from right to left. Now, with that little bit of trivia in under the belt, Richard, let's talk about some of the more specific details of the rates that are coming up. Going to be a little bit different, slightly different than what we had for the oval rules.
Oh, certainly. So the cars are the Corvette C6, a mighty muscle car and one that takes a lot of attention when you're trying to drive it. We spoke about that earlier. The setups are open. The fuel is limited to 61%. So that means there will be at least one pit stop required. The qualifying is the best of 4 laps. They are busy qualifying at the moment. They have 15 minutes to complete their 4 laps, so plenty of time for them to do that in this car. The race itself, Bill, is 50 minutes. It's set in the late afternoon, so you have that sort of evening approaching look with some sections of the course quite glary as well. So lots of reflected light coming off the track into the driver's eyes can make it a little difficult to see at times, even in the simulated race conditions here. There are no fast repairs and no incident cap, so it is possible for the drivers to take advantage of sections of the course where they can do that because there's no incident cap. So at the last chicane, for instance, they might go wide and pick up the iRacing incident. It won't count against them. There are no cautions as far as we know. There's local cautions only, which means in effect no cautions. The weather, let's have a quick look at the weather now. I think it's with similar weather settings to the other race there. In fact, no, it's not. 31 degrees on track, 27 in the air, and it's clear skies for the drivers, 54% relative humidity, and there's a wind of gusting at around 14 kilometers an hour from the northwest at times. So that there, Bill, is what the drivers will be facing in this race.
For those of you who are metrically challenged, that translates to 80 degrees Fahrenheit is our ambient temperature. And the track temperature right now, if I can look that up real quick, track temperature about 88 degrees. So that's not really that hot. You know, we talked about the those long shadows that you can see there with those Dougie Beer camera shots. My wife's a photographer, and she would always say this is the best time to take pictures. She'd always be out this time of night in these late evening with the long shadows and the sun gleaming off the track there. In fact, right now she's behind me taking pictures of my screen because she thinks it looks so pretty. Sit down, honey. You bothered me. There you go. Okay, one of the things we can do, because our director's pretty sneaky, we can go ahead and bring up the points from the results after the first round here, after the oval round. You can bring those up and look at those. Now, you'll be surprised here what you see. Look at that. Northwest, no surprising, out in front, 612 points. We talked about this earlier during one of our breaks here, waiting for this session to come up. But in case you weren't with us, we'll go over it one more time. What is surprising is Brazil is honestly within striking positions, 484 points, New York at 415 in third. I would say that New York, Northwest, and Brazil, that spread is probably the closest of any three clubs so far in any of the other World Cup halftime breaks, any time at this time. So Brazil has a real shot. Unfortunately for Brazil right now, they're going to be down on manpower. Only 4 drivers entered, but remember last time, that's what we thought, and then they made a late entry. So we'll see what's going on. New York and Northwest have full contingents, 10 drivers each, Richard. And unfortunately, I'm a little bit ashamed of my group here, my club. California not going to make an appearance so far on the chart.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. They only have 73 points from the first race, the oval race at Atlanta. I nearly said Road Atlanta, but they no show here in the road race. That's unfortunate. Brazil needed to get more drivers in here because they had a real shot at winning this thing, I think, particularly with their prowess and expertise at road racing, Bill. So not happening at the moment. Northwest and New York have full complements, as you mentioned. So might be between them as we see in the qualifying. Let me have a quick look at the qualifying here. Jimbo Pfeiffer, I think he's from the New York club. No, he's from the Northwest club, I think. So let's see.
He's Northwest driver. Yep. And I think 3 words for you as far as Jimbo Pfeiffer goes, and I think he would agree with this. 3 words to keep in mind for him. He is really fast right now. Keep these 3 words with you. Wire to wire. He is ahead of the next qualifier by about 0.4 of a second, that being Brian Bennett, also of the Northwest Club. My goodness, the Northwest Club seems very strong here. We would expect that Brazil, who's noted for being better on road race, I mean, certainly they know how to race ovals as well, but not doing quite as well.
Yeah, that's true. So looking at the qualifying at the moment, bearing in mind, of course, that they have to complete 4 laps. Most of the drivers would have completed their laps by this time. Elapsed time in the qualifying session has been more than 10 minutes, in fact 12 minutes now. So that's plenty of time to finish the laps, the 4 laps required. So it might be that we can call it on Jimbo Pfeiffer having the pole position, but we can't really, because not yet. But look at that. Let's see. Michael Cornet there in 3rd position. Which club is he from? Let's have a look, because if that's another Northwest driver, then they've got the podium positions for qualifying anyway locked up there, Bill.
Yeah, that's what we said about the oval, and that they really had it handed to them. And in fact, the only reason that they are up ahead of the other clubs is because they have depth. They were able to fill the full contingent of drivers, so they scored points for 8th, 9th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, where other teams may not have. If you have friends and family of any of these drivers, you get a chance to look at those. Right now, we're looking at Andrew Precario putting in a qualifying time. Now, remember, this is lone qualifying. I know it might be a bit confusing. All the drivers are out there by themselves right now, even though our director can go from one car to another. When you're in the cockpit, you only see yourself. So they all qualify at the same time, but as if they're doing it on separate tracks. And there you see Lance Gomez locking the car up, something that I did almost
now
every
Lance
corner.
Gomez, Lance Gomez is the only non-Northwest driver. He's just outside the top 3 there, but he is from New York, so he's put in a good time there, 1:39.089, so not that far off from Jimbo Pfeiffer. And I'm just having a look at Bruce Nelson. Bruce Nelson is also from Northwest, so the top 5 is 4 Northwest and 1 New York at the moment.
One of the places on this track that just gave me the worst time was Rabaza. It's those 2 left-handers at the very end. It seems like you come down and the car gets real heavy down there, and Lord knows, I locked up the car more times than not through there. We're looking at Jimbo Pfeiffer now, our pole sitter out there right now, just getting some laps in. I think he's pretty comfortable on the pole.
Yeah, Bill, one of the things we never mentioned, and probably should have, it's been remiss of me not to mention it, is that the start here will be a rolling start. Now, it's thank goodness for that, is all I can say, because trying to get these cars off the line in a standing start would have been something to watch. So it'll be a rolling start. And the other thing to remember from that rolling start is they don't do a full rolling lap. So it's a partial lap. I think that's right. So look for the cars to come out from sort of, I think they start somewhere around the Piratella or maybe around the Aqua Minerale even on the start. So we'll see what happens there. But when they light up the tires to get away on the start, it's going to be really interesting heading in that first lap down to Tamburello.
Well, my brother who owned that AMC Javelin would have preferred a standing start, but sorry, buddy, we're going to roll it here. Okay, let's go ahead and look at I think we can do our qualifying grid right now if the director gives me permission to do that. On the front row, like we talked about, Jimbo Pfeiffer, if you've ever watched the Pack Majors series, you know him very well there. Also, Brian Bennett, also from that same series, making up the front row. Richard, who's in row 2?
Row 2, in third position, Mitchell Cornett, and next to him is Lance Gomez Jr.
Bruce Nelson in the 5th spot. Outside of him, Christopher Sherburne.
Then in 7th place on row 4, we have C.M. Skinner, and next to him, Andrew Procario.
Brandon Walk in the 9th position, rounding out your top 10, and that overlay, Stephen Paulison.
And then we'll go to the next part of the grid, which is coming up. There we are. Sonny G. Tucker and Wayne Hutchinson on row 6.
Then a real-world driver here, Christopher Buffet in the 13th position. Sergio let me get this one right. Sobrino in the 14th spot.
Correct. 15th place, Hunter Reeves. 16th place, Kyle Young, who we saw did such an excellent job in the oval race.
Chris Beck in 17th, Edward Duarte outside him.
19th and 20th places, row 10, held down by Jacob Klein, who won the oval race. And let's see, that's Allison Pereira in 20th place.
Then 4 drivers who did not post times. Sean Brietzman, who we saw in the Oval Series, Alex Montoanelli, Marcus Bica, and Michael Kearns in the 24th spot. 24 names. Did any of those drivers that I just mentioned, I believe Kearns is out there, Bica is out there, those guys who... Buffet is not all. Our real-world driver, Christopher, did not make the grid.
And they're rolling, Bill. They're rolling. They're coming around Ravazza right now, getting ready for a start. Back to you.
There they are now. It is a long way up here to the start-finish line. The pace car will pull off. Let's see how quickly they go. They're going to go right now. Jimbo Pfeiffer jumps that beautiful Corvette out in front for the Northwest, followed by his familiar driver who he's raced against so many times, Brian Bennett, making a move on the inside, Lance Gomez. Where did he come from? My goodness, he's squeezing up on the inside as they work themselves into that first corner. Gomez is going to be able to have to drop back into third, Rich.
Yeah, he did, and they go through the chicane there. That's the Tamburello. Now they head down. They head towards Villeneuve, and it is Jimbo Pfeiffer, Brian Bennett, followed by... It looks like it is... I'm off pace here. I don't know where I am at the moment. Sorry, Bill.
Well, they work their way through that sharp left-hander there, Tosa. Now it's Pfeiffer out in front, Bennett in second, Gomez in third. Don't be fooled by Gomez's last name. He is from New York, not from Brazil. Fourth place driver, Michel Cornette. Michael Cornette, sorry about that. Mitchell Cornette, let's get it right. Third time's the charm. Fifth place driver, Bruce Nelson. Let me round out your top 10 for you. Christopher Sherbin, Andrew Porcario in 7th position. 8th, CM Skinner. Goes a little bit off there. Brandon Walk in 9th, and rounding out your top 10. Up, started 11th, up one spot. Sonny
we've got
Tucker.
a car off track. We have a car off track.
Pfeiffer is loose. Your pole sitter has looped it. That was through, I think that was through Alta, and then he had a tough re-entry back in. He's going to fall back to 15th position.
And he's got damage as well. He hit the wall for sure. So it's a matter of, let's hope the damage is not too serious as he gets together in Ravazza there.
It was
another car, no touch.
It was Hunter
there.
Reeves who got into him.
Dear, oh dear, that's a terrible sequence of events there for the pole sitter, Jimbo Pfeiffer, but he's still rolling, Bill. That's a good sign.
We're going to go on board with Hunter. Hunter, yeah, if I was you, I'd be a little hot under the collar right now. You're just out there minding your own business, and boy, you couldn't see where you were coming there, and the car pulled right out in front of you.
Yeah, not a good thing. So now our leader is Brian Bennett, and he's from the Northwest Club. He's leading this race at the moment, going through the hairpin there at Tosa. Mitchell Cornett about 1.8 seconds, 2 seconds back, so that's a good lead for him. Also from Mitchell Cornett, also from Northwest. Then we've got Lance Gomez from New York in 3rd position. Bruce Nelson from, is he from Northwest? Yes. And then Christopher Sherbin. That's your top 5. They're a little spread out at the moment due to that people taking evasive action after Jimbo had his incident. But Jimbo himself is down in 13th position at present.
New York running 3rd, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 10th right now. 5 cars within the top 5. They're going to have to pick it up a little bit. The good news for New York is they have a full contingent of drivers, all 10, so they'll score 1 through 9, just like Northwest will, but they'll have to make up that gap that they had in the Oval because they didn't have a complete crew, so they're going to really have to, beat the Northwest crew today to get in there.
Yeah, that's right. And the good news for Jimbo is that he's rolling and the damage doesn't appear to have slowed him down that much. He's trying to get on terms here with one of the New York drivers, Edward Doherty. He should get the better of him. No, he's coming into the pits right now, so he's not happy with his car, Bill.
And I don't think that's going to be within the window. I think that's too early. There are no fast repairs here in the World Cup, as there should be. So he's going to have some work to do. Let's look at 11th position right now. A nice battle going on with Wayne Hutchinson and Sergio Sobrinho. I think that's what it is. So here comes Sergio right now, making a move on the inside of Wayne. Wayne able to fend him off as they work their way through Villeneuve. Oh, there's a mistake by Hutchinson. And now on the outside as they work to this sharp left-hander. Tucking in right behind him, Richard. That's Breitsman, who we saw in the Oval, running back there at 13th right now.
Yeah, that is correct.
Still
and
side by side.
Yeah, they are side by side. It's a tough part of the course to be doing that, tough car to be doing it in, but they make it. They make contact.
Going into Aqua Minerale, they touch. Falling back out of it there is the Brazilian driver, Sobrino. But he's not giving up. He's coming back now as he working his way around Doherty. We'll watch this replay.
Yeah, but ahead of them is the side-by-side going into Alta as well. My goodness.
We are back live now. My parents taught me not to stereotype, but I tell you, Brazilian drivers take no prisoners.
Hot under the collar is the word for them. Hot-headed, perhaps?
Oh, right in front of them we had a spin. We looked like it was a... Oh, there we go. We're going to watch it on replay now. Tucker. Sonny Tucker running at 16th position at the time.
Dear, oh dear. Meanwhile, Edward Doherty completely off track, just coming back on, spun the car completely around. He's coming back on as we go back live again.
Doherty actually nosed it into the wall, not just a spin. He hit pretty hard into the tire barrier. Does a better job of bringing the car back onto the track, though, than Pfeiffer did. Maybe Doherty trying to make an example there.
Well, let's go back up to the front where it's just briefly, there's not that exciting. Brian Bennett leading there. He's got a 1.115. Now, I called the gap previously at close to 2 seconds. So our second place getter, Mitchell Cornett, is catching at the moment, and that's going to develop, I believe.
We look there now. We look at second position there, Mike Cornett. Doing a good job of running down Bennett. Let's stay on this for a little while. We won't jump right out of it. Let's see what Cornett can do here. Interval right now, 0.8 of a second. As we watch this, I'll just update you. There's not a Brazilian driver in the top 10 right now.
No, there isn't. And that's a really good exit from the Ravazza there for Mitchell Cornett. So he's definitely catching Brian Bennett. Or it may be that Brian Bennett was held up a little bit. There was a slower car in front of Brian at one stage. So let's see what happens. We'll just stay with this because this is a developing battle here. They're close enough now, 0.6 of a second, Bill, for this to become a real good fight at the moment. Now, we are only, well, close to 10 minutes into the race at the moment. So still the best part of 40 minutes of racing to come. Remember, of course, pit stops to come as well. This is a strategy race as well as a race for position and for bragging rights and for your club. So it's going to be really interesting. This is just the opener. Don't go away.
This battle we're looking at right now between Snelson and Skinner here, this is probably a better battle than the one up front, because the two drivers up front, Bennett and Cornett, those are both Sasquatchian drivers. They're both from the Northwest, so I don't know how much of a battle they're going to put up here. But right now, Snelson is the Northwest driver, but the guy that's stalking him, CM Skinner, he's from the Big Apple, so he's looking away. I don't actually know he's from the Big Apple. For Big Apple really is more specifically to New York City, but he is from New York State. He's from the Empire State, and he's looking after Bruce right now.
Well, those Saskatchewan, did you say Saskatchewan? Have they got big
Now,
feet?
Saskatchewan is a province in Canada. A Saskatchewan is a Bigfootish type person.
You had me going there for a while with the Saskatchewan thing.
Bigfootish. Abominable snowman.
Okay, I called it wrong, but I was right about the big feet. So
Yeti. I'm out of definitions for what. It's an animal that hunts and that hangs around up there in the woods of the Northwest.
Well, it's a mythical character. Now, let's get back to the racing. CM Skinner. Let's go to CM Skinner. Bruce Nelson just in front of him. This is a real battle now. They are right up with each other. Let's see if there's a challenge coming from CM Skinner. There is, as they go into the second chicane there, Villeneuve, and he makes it stick. Well, he's got that position.
Absolutely. Now we're going to drop back as we leave Skinner there for a minute. That's a nice battle, though. We'll make sure to come back in. Let's go to 8th position. Kyle Young in a battle with Stephen Paulison and also Brietzman in there as well. Young, of course, the New York driver. And he's being followed again by the Northwest driver of Paulison. And I believe also, in fact, this actually goes back a little farther. Paulison in there, Brietzman Northwest, and now making a move. Here comes a Brazilian driver working around. Let's drop back to 10th position. Here comes Sergio Sabrijo again.
Yeah, Sabrino's been there or thereabouts, and he was up further a little while previously and then was involved in a little bit of shenanigans, but he's come back and he's now chasing down Sean Brietzman, and Sean in turn is trying to catch the two drivers in front of him, Stephen Paulison and Kyle Young. So a good battle developing here from the 7th to the 10th position.
There you can see that Dougie Beard camera shot. You can see all four drivers in the same clip there at one time. I love those long angle shots. Oh, Paulson drops back a little bit. Brietzman goes a little bit wide. Then Sergio Sabrijo making a move back there in the 11th position. This is your best battle on the track right now. A Brazilian and a New Yorker sandwiching two Northwest drivers.
Yeah, and behind them trying to catch up, of course, is the Brazilian driver, Sobrino. Sergio Calizario Sobrino. Did I get that right, Bill?
I think that his
Oh,
friend-
accident.
Yep, Kyle Young involved in that one. And it was a guy making it. Now, it might have been actually a little bit of net code, and honestly, Young got a little bit loose, and then making this move, Sean Brietzman got into the back of Young. This one,
Young got loose, and that started it all.
it looked ugly at first. You looked at Brietzman making that move from 3 car lengths back. You said, "What's going on?" But honestly, Young, you can right on board with you. You see the car get loose. You can just feel it in your pants there while you're riding on board. And Brietzman, I'm going to let you off the hook for that one. So Brietzman moves up into, unless he got, yeah, Brietzman moves himself up into 13th position though, still struggling a little bit.
Oh, Bill, did you?
Yeah, Brietzman got hit again. He's got damage.
Oh dear. Carl Young has recovered after that spin there. And Bill, this feel it in your pants. I'm not going to go anywhere near that.
Let's give a shout out here as we come back live in a second. We come back. Oh, we're going to go on board. We're going to watch this one on board with Bika, Marcos Bika. Let's see what we got here. Oh my goodness.
Oh no, he hits him hard. He hits the wall and then more.
Let's go ahead and look at the driver in 15th position right now. He was our winner. If my notes are, if I can read my chicken scratches, Jacob Klein was the oval winner. Am I correct on that? Sure he was. So he's running 15th right now. Oh, excuse me. Well, yeah, 15th. And actually, did he get a slowdown penalty? I think he got a slowdown penalty on that final corner, and he had to pay it.
Bill, that's one thing we should also mention. It's very easy in several places to get the slowdown penalties here. The chicanes are very easy to get wrong, particularly the last chicane there, the Alta chicane, and you can get a slowdown penalty there. The approach to the chicane through the Aqua Minerale, very easy to get a slowdown there as well, and through a couple of the other chicanes. So this is a really, really tough track, and you know, I'm gonna say that anyone who's taken on this track in this particular car, which is very difficult to drive, has my respect straight away.
Things are looking good for the Northwest Club to advance right now. New York's giving them a run for their money, but they're going to have a little help. Hey, if you want to listen to a great interview, go back and listen to GSRC's coverage, the middle break between the oval race and the road race of the Group C, an interview done by our own Sean Ambrose with, if I can remember his name, I had it already. Dalton, I believe, is his last name. I can't remember his first name. I apologize. Matt Dalton. He's the club chief of the UKI. Great interview. You want to hear about a club? The United Kingdom, Ireland. Boy, those guys are coming with their lips pulled back and their teeth showing. Going to give Finland and Germany, Austria, Switzerland everything they could possibly want.
Back to the racing, and it's 35 minutes to go in this second part of the Group D races, and we have in the lead of the race Brian Bennett from the Northwest Club, and indeed we also have Mitchell Cornett in second place, also from the Northwest Club, and then in third place we've got Lance Gomez from New York. He's a little way behind, so it looks as if there's not a lot of racing going on between first and second and third at the moment. We're looking for a battle happening somewhere on track, but at the moment they're pretty spread out, Bill.
We like P8 right now. Paulison gets down. This is another Brazilian driver. It's Gogo Sabrino. Man, he is after him again. Just almost gets into the back of Stephen Paulison.
And just to update the viewers here, Brightsman and Marcus Ricca, are in the pits at the moment getting repairs done for the earlier incident. And Jimbo Pfeiffer, our pole setter, is circulating, but he is on track, their second last car on the track. So that's a real tragedy when he was looking really good at the beginning of the race, Bill.
I'm telling you, when it comes to the Final Four, assuming these Northwest guys get there, they're going to be happy to see there's no Brazilians in that Final Four. Man, they are pesky. Northwest drivers just out there trying to put in the laps, just get it to the end, score points for my club.
Well, they're pretty spread out now. So let's run it down, Bill, so we can give the viewers. They're on lap 10 at the moment here. Brian Bennett, as we mentioned, leading well at the moment. I knew that Brian would be somewhere near the front because I've watched him racing in various cars, particularly GT3, and he certainly has a way with these big, heavy cars. Mitchell Cornet is our second place getter. I think he's from the same club, Northwest, obviously. So I think he's just happy to sit back there behind Brian Bennett, knowing that they are scoring points for their club. It's not so much about who wins. It's Bill, as you know, it's about which club gets the most points. They want to get to this final.
Third place, we have a couple New York drivers here running third and fourth. Lance Gomez, he's got about 2.5 seconds ahead of CM Skinner. They're running third and fourth. Richard, who do you got in fifth?
Well, in fifth place at the moment, we have Bruce Snelson. Now, Bruce Snelson is from Northwest.
Not for long in fifth, because here comes Christopher
Yep.
Sherburne.
Passed like he was standing still.
I think he got another slowdown penalty on those final corners. I think they're picking it up there, and they're having to serve it on the straight. Back there, Ravasa, I think, is catching people by surprise.
Well, the Ravasa looks a lot easier on the camera than it actually is. It's two 90-degree bends, and it's difficult to negotiate. You've got a lot of runoff area there, and you've got those green sort of part of the track sections where you can put the wheels of the car on those green sections, but if you do, then the car gets a little loose, and particularly with these heavy cars. So very, very tough to negotiate that. But getting back to our list here, so we've done Sherburne, now Snelson we've done in 6th place. Back in 7th place, we've got Hunter Reed. I'm getting some information from director. What are we looking at?
Klein took a little trip through the alfalfa there. Remember, that was your oval winner. He's got it back going. Back live now. Klein was running 15th at the time. Richard, before we go back to your rundown, tell me how good Mike Willett is as he gives us live timing and scoring here. I'm telling you, the best series director that there is. Right now, the score is 1,268 for Northwest to 1,018. That's a difference of 250 points between Northwest and New York. New York needs to pick it up. Thank you, Mike, for that. That's very cool. Richard, we went all the way through 7th. Who we got in 8th?
Okay, let's go to 8th place now. It is Stephen Paulison, and he's from the Northwest Club. Looks like we're just calling Northwest at the moment. Then we've got Brazilian Mr. Sabrino, who we have mentioned a couple of times. He is in 9th place at the moment. And then rounding out the top 10 is Wayne Hutchinson, also from Northwest. So looks like Northwest might have a stranglehold on this race for the moment, with a one Brazilian in there and also one New Yorker in there. Now, a couple of New Yorkers in there.
Yeah, New Yorkers running third and fourth right now, and also running in 7th position. Hey, let's continue with this rundown a little bit, since there's not a lot going on. How about 11th place, Chris Beck, running for the Northwest Club. He's got about 1.3 second lead on a nice little battle going on here between these guys. This is Sonny Tucker. We saw him have incidents earlier. He's being challenged by Kyle Young. Tucker, of course, is as I look on my timing and scoring, what club he is in, New York. There are New York drivers going at it right there. So that's 12th and 13th. Let's stay on this one a little bit there, Director, if we could. Not a lot going on. We'll see if Tucker can fend off Kyle Young. And again, Kyle, I remember you from very early days of the MX-5 World Tour. You put in a couple seasons back.
Yes.
Good to see you back, buddy.
Yes, and Kyle Young occasionally visits the Advanced Mazda Cup. So we are familiar with Kyle Young. Yeah. He's following teammate at the moment here in Sonny G. Tucker. And we know another Sonny who's really, really fast in a different series. but we're not interested in talking about him right now. They are following Chris Beck from the Northwest Club, and that is really who they would like to get to grips with, Bill, and overtake, because New Yorkers would, if the two New Yorkers would get themselves up into a different position and maybe get a couple more points for their club.
Points for both of those guys. In past World Cup seasons, there was always the wild card where we take the 4 winners and then the highest scoring team. We don't have the wild card here today. Usually the wild card came from the group that had the weakest top team, because it was hard to be a wild card if you were in the same category, the same group as Finland. You know, a lot of talk in the we can follow this race here. I hate to elaborate, to monologue here, but there's a lot of talk about disadvantages to small clubs in this format. I just don't see it. Finland is a very small club. What they do is they organize and they get their guys together and they put on a show. So if you're in a small group, aka New Jersey, who was complaining in the forum, get your guys together. Get out there and race.
Yeah, I think what the situation needs, the situation that needs to be addressed is the World Cup only comes around once a year, right? During the other parts of the year, there's really not even a mention of clubs. And so I think there's something needs to happen there to make people aware.
Oh, we got a crash here. 21st position, is that what we're looking at? No, it's Cornette. The driver in third. I went to the wrong spot.
Christopher Beaufait also was sitting out on the edge of the track. Now he's in the pits. That's taking a toll.
Looking at Cornette, he got, was it? Oh, it was Beaufait. Beaufait was a lap down, was several laps down. And he goes around, and then that's what happened was a little bit of netcode there. Cornette gave Beaufait a nice punt as the lap car went around him.
Yeah, that was just a big punt, and Christopher Beaufait now sitting in the pits because of that.
Beaufait, remember, was not able to grid. Must have had some technical problem where he couldn't take the grid. He was 5 laps down, so no harm, no foul there for Beaufait. I'm sure he's going to enjoy that. Remember, he's a driver with real-world experience. He actually raced. Another car off right now, Allison Pierre. I just saw the leaders go around him.
Yes, and Christopher Beaufait, in fact, races a Mustang, I believe it is, in real life. So he was racing in one of our series and reporting to us from racetracks where he was racing his Mustang for real. And it was fascinating to get those reports, Bill.
And just get back to the point you were making about the clubs. Yeah. That's one of the things, is there's not a lot of club talk throughout the year, and all of a sudden it comes on these guys. We cover a race, the IDA series, the iRacing Drivers Association. It's a series based in Australia, and they have great attendance. And I would bring up the World Cup. They actually didn't even know about it. So, and Australia, talk about a dominant club here as we look on board here with Sabrijo. My goodness, you're gonna see Tucker having trouble.
Okay, I'm going to have a look at the front again and just check in with Brian Bennett, who is leading this race. 15 laps at the moment, 26 minutes elapsed. So 25 minutes left, Bill. So I'm sure drivers will start to be thinking about their pit stop now. Tires will be getting a little tired perhaps at this point in the race. Brian Bennett doing a fantastic job just circulating that car, keeping it on the black stuff. In as far as he can, which he's doing a fantastic job of. Mitchell Cornett, his teammate and fellow Northwest driver, sitting back there in second place and just following Brian Bennett around. But I'm becoming a little interested in when we will see scheduled pit stops happening, Bill.
Yep, nobody really, any big names have taken pit stops other than Jimbo Pfeiffer, and he took that one early probably to get his damage fixed. What is happening, though, is lap traffic now is becoming an issue. Some of these drivers coming up on some of the back markers.
Yes, that's true. And nobody looking like they're going to go into the pits now. I would imagine that these cars would be able to get around about 40 minutes of time in perhaps 35, 40 minutes perhaps of driving time. So they only really need a splash of fuel to finish the race. I'm just wondering whether they will go in and take tires as well. I'm beginning to think perhaps not, Bill.
Looking at Paulson right here, this was a nice battle. He was coming up on the back of Sabrino, and this kind of misses the, he kind of cuts the apex there. I think that's the Alta chicane that he went around. And then he had a slowdown penalty because basically he just did not do the chicane. Sometimes I'm actually faster avoiding the chicane and taking the slowdown penalty than actually negotiating.
Well, when we were practicing in Imola for another race, we did some really fun stuff here. I won't tell all the viewers in case they drive on this track, but there are some tricks that you can do which can gain you lots of time and avoid penalties. So,
you Australian guys are always finding out the loopholes.
We got to figure it out, and it's all legal. There's nothing illegal about it. If iRacing allows it, we do it.
And Chris Beck has just moved up. Kyle Young and Chris Beck Young in 11th and Beck in 12th. I believe that pass was just made. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he's coming up. Go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, I was just going to say these cars, Beck, you've got here, and in front of him, you mentioned Carl Young, and in front of him, Wayne Hutchison. These cars are closest together on track that we can see at the moment. So they're not interested in battling each other by the looks of things, just following at the moment, but they are close enough for a battle to develop, and there is a situation there where Chris Beck is northwest, Kyle Young is New York, and Wayne Hutchinson is northwest. So Kyle Young would be anxious to try and get to grips, I would imagine, with Wayne Hutchinson and do battle with him for that position.
CM Skinner in for our first really front runner to come in and make a pit stop. He's going to come out right now. It looks like he's going to cycle out quite a bit farther back. We'll see what he does. Free on the lead lap.
Yeah, Hutchinson's come in as well. Yep, Hutchinson. Couple sitting in the pits already, but they're getting repairs done. Interestingly, I'm having a look at Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer seems to be circulating quite okay now, so he's had the damage repaired, and one hopes, Bill, that he can make up some time. He'll be passing guys like Hutchinson, and there's Brandon Wash in the pits as well at the moment. So let's hope Jimbo Pfeiffer, for the reason that he was the pulser, that can get himself up further.
Our top driver who has made a pit stop, currently running in 11th position, I believe, CM Skinner. CM, of course, stands for Chicane Maniac, and he certainly has been doing very well today as he negotiates all of the chicanes that make up Imola.
Yeah, there are 3 of them as well. There is a penchant of Italians to have to have chicanes on their racetracks. There's also, of course, we have a CM Skinner. He has a self-spin, coming out of the Alta, Variate Alta.
In the chicane.
No harm, no foul. We'll have a look at that on replay, but he gets going again pretty quickly.
How you give a guy a nickname and you would think he could live up to it, and then he loses it in a chicane.
Chicane Maniac. Well, maybe
I guess that could mean 2 things, I guess, yeah.
Could go either way, that one. So Brino into the pits for his regulation pit stop. So this is the time for people to come in and get their pit stop. I'm going to put the cameras on Sabrina. Does he take tires? I'm interested in finding out.
Looking at him right there. One day iRacing is going to give us real pit crews to go out there. Right now we just have to look for imaginary, see if the car goes up. Oh, there you go.
Yep.
And we think in our director who would know these kind of things, Amjad Yaman, who is a really good director and even a better race driver, thinks that's a mistake. And I would kind of agree here.
Well, with these cars, difficult to tell because the cars just pop up. They have, I'm pretty sure, like the V8 supercars and other cars as well, they have built-in jacks which they pump up with either hydraulics or with air, and it just lifts the car slightly off the ground. You can barely see it, and that gives them enough enough cover, enough air between the ground and the tire for them to be able to change the tire. So that could be happening without us actually noticing it.
Our director will correct me if I'm wrong, though. I believe these cars have to do tires after fuel. Is that correct? Yeah. So that's why it's first you get your fuel, and then once you're ready to go, you have to stop and get that quick tire change. So that could take you about 25 seconds or so.
Bunch of them coming into the pits now.
Here we go.
Brian Bennett, Cornette, Snelson, Reeve, Paulison, all the front runners coming into the pits now on lap number 18 with 33 minutes gone in the race, about 19 minutes left in the race. So everyone coming in to get their fuel for the remainder of the race.
I believe Bennett's going to file out in third position behind Gomez and Sherburne, who are going to try to do it without stopping. Good luck with that strategy. Cornette's going to come out in fourth overall, but it's going to cycle up to second. The guy who had a good stop. I see Kyle Young now running. He's going to be running on that podium position. Kyle Young's going to be running in third, I think. Oh, the reason he's doing so well is Kyle has not come in yet. Kyle running just ahead of CM Skinner.
Yeah, it's a couple of guys. There comes Gomez, who was just leading briefly. He's coming to the pits now. So Sherburne is the other one that needs to get into the pits. Tucker's in, Beck's in. So these guys, just about everybody will have pitted now after those top two come in.
Gomez and Sherburne are in now, so that's going to turn over the lead to Bennett. We're going to look at Bennett right now. He's trying to negotiate here. Michael Kearns. A couple drivers from different clubs. Kearns a New Yorker.
And Carl Young, as was mentioned, Carl Young hasn't made his pit stop, so one would expect he might even come in now as he's approaching Ravazza now. Let's see if he does come in and get that pit stop out the way. But briefly, he was in third position there.
Kearns does a good job of letting the leader go around.
Oh, he's staying out, Bill. Interesting. Carl Young is.
Kyle Young, looking at our timing and scoring, he's the last guy to come in.
Hasn't come in yet.
Well, if he can stay out for another 17 minutes, he might be able to sneak a top 5.
I don't know. I haven't done any field tests, but it's going to be very tight to get 50 minutes. Nah.
I'm just teasing you. Okay, Pfeiffer now coming in for his regular stop. Remember, he was your pole sitter, then he had that mistake. He's got to be kicking himself. Good news, Jimbo. Come back next week. Good chance you're going to be in the finals. But there won't be any room for mistakes then where you're up against the Finns. The Finns looking to go 3 in a row.
Yeah, Finland for some reason has really they shine when it comes to this World Cup because they put the effort in and they make it work for them.
Well, we teased about California and the sunlight and the beautiful girls. I can't attest to the beautifulness of the women in Finland. I can only assume that they're equally as pretty, but I can't say there's not a lot of sunlight in January, so I think they'll have lots of time to practice.
Well, let me tell you, not from personal experience, because I can't claim that, but certainly from watching various YouTube videos, the most Scandinavian women are really beautiful. So Finland is not exactly Scandinavia, but it's close by, so they will have beautiful women, make no mistake.
Maybe I should correct myself. It's because the finals will be in a week. Which
Carl Young in the pits.
Early November.
Carl Young in the pits. So he's coming to make his pit stop. And that's really the last of the regulation pit stops to happen. So after this, it's the race to the finish. And Brian Bennett is our race leader at the moment.
Richard, let's go ahead and run down these drivers again, and we'll stop when we get to a battle. I'll take 2 at a time here. I'll take the first 2. Brian Bennett out in front by about 3.7 seconds on Lance Gomez. Now, both of those... Oh, I'm sorry. Gomez is a New York driver, so we have a Northwest driver out there, and then the New York driver, Gomez. Who you got in third, Rich?
In third place, we have Mitchell Cornette, and he's been in third place for quite some time. Fourth place is CM Skinner, the, not so maniacal driver.
Did a
And
good
then
job.
go ahead for the next place, which is
Fifth and
place.
sixth. As Skinner did a good job making up for that mistake, still running fourth. Fifth place, Christopher Sherburne. He's got about 10-second lead on Bruce Snelson, all the way back running in sixth. And then Richard, when we get to your guy in seventh, it's a long way back.
Yeah, that's a long way back. This is the Northwest driver, Hunter Reeve. Not Northwest, sorry, New York driver, Hunter Reeve. And he is out there in a seventh place, going back one more spot. It is Kyle Young, who's just coming into his pit box right now, or coming out of the pits. And this is quite a long exit from the pits. And there he is, Kyle Young in 8th position.
Yeah, he's been out for a little bit there. Make sure you check your fast forward button there, Rich. Then we look for the driver in 9th position, and it's going to be Paulson. And actually, there's a little bit of a battle there. Paulson has Kyle Young in his sights, only about 1.7 seconds behind. We'll come back in and check on that one. That's our closest battle inside the top 10. Let me round out the top 10, Rich, and then you keep going. Hey, there he is, Sergio Gogo Sabrino, running in 10th position. Nobody around him right now for him to fight with. Rich, who do you got in 11th?
Yeah, 11th place is Chris Beck, and he's from the Northwest Club, and just circulating at the moment, Chris Beck is, in fact, just to give people an idea, he's 1 minute and 11 seconds from Brian Bennett, our leader. In 12th position is Wayne Hutchinson. He's not that far behind Chris Beck, but Chris, of course, is a teammate also from the Northwest Club.
Yeah, probably not going to be that intense there. Those drivers for 11th and 12th, both Northwest drivers, like Richard said. 13th position, Andrew Picario. Andrew, I believe, is from New York. There we go. Running in 13th. He got about a 4-second lead. Back to our pole sitter who had that early trouble, Jimbo Pfeiffer, still running on the lead lap. 1 minute and 19 seconds behind. Richard, I'll just round out all the drivers on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap. Last time he crossed the start-finish line, he was 1:27 back, and that's Brandon Walk. And that takes you through the top 15, all on the lead lap.
And my sentiment is with Jimbo Pfeiffer. A pole sitter who lands up in 15th position is never a good, well, he's actually in 14th position right now. It's never a good thing. But ahead of him, there are a number of drivers who are fairly close together. And Andrew Procario is a New York driver who is fairly close built to the two Northwest drivers, in fact 3 Northwest drivers in front of him. So let's see if he can do anything to catch up to those drivers as they approach the Alta chicane. And here's some problem here, which is going to give Procario an opportunity to get by somebody. Let's have a look at that on replay. It's Beck.
I think Beck note 7'd it. It just blew up. Probably on a downshift, I would think.
Well, we're getting the replay now. He's coming. Everything looks okay, and boom! There's just a big blow up right there. Yeah, downshifted to the wrong gear, selected the wrong gear, and blew the engine.
Not the first person to do that.
Absolutely not. So that's one Northwest driver out of contention. And where was Chris Beck at the time of the problem? He was probably up in about in 10th, 11th position. So that's a really big blow for Northwest there.
And probably still, he was running P8, probably still enough time with some of these, battle for P8. Still enough time for some of these guys who are still running to push him down a few spots. Let's look at this P8 battle now. Oh, we know these guys. Here we go. This is Young and Paulson. Young the New Yorker, Paulson the Northwesterner.
Indeed, and this is 4 position, and it is between 2 different clubs. So Paulson will be quite interested in what's going on in front of him. He sees the white car in front of him, and that is akin to him like a bull, the red flag waving to a bull. So he's right up on him now, Bill, as they come down towards Ravazza. This is a very fast part of the course. You can get on the outside and try and make the pass on the inside. He's trying that, but he hasn't got enough. He's got to break the car down. Carl Young really giving the car everything that he's got and stays ahead as they come out of Ravazza onto the onto the front stretch, heading towards the start-finish line.
A good battle going on for 8th. Young from the Empire State. Paulison from the Evergreen State. About 0.2 of a second between them. Now this is your best passing zone coming up right through here. If you can get closer, I like that into that first chicane.
Yeah, the first chicane, Tumbarello it's called. And here comes Stephen Paulison. He goes to the inside.
I don't like it through Villeneuve.
Gomez is in P2. We are hearing in our information. He is from New York, as we know. So what happened to Mitchell Cornett? We'll need to go and find out, because Mitchell Cornett from Northwest, he was in second place, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
before.
when we did our rundown, I think we had Gomez out in front of Cornett, I believe. I think it was the pit stops. I think Gomez is out there. We're looking to make sure on that. In fact, in the pit lane, Gomez was in the pit lane for 50 seconds. Cornett was in there for 55 seconds. So I think Cornett lost that position. Of course, I could be wrong. I could rewind and make it for sure. But right now, Gomez running in second.
Let's get back to the battle here for P8. Stephen Paulison very close now to Kyle Young, perhaps closer than he was last lap. But Kyle Young just launching the car down into the Ravazza, the two-part corner, which both 90 degrees. It brings them back onto the front stretch again. There are only 8 minutes to go in this race, Bill, and then we were able to start tallying up the points and see who got into the finals and so on. But at this point in time, here is a battle for 8th place. I'm pretty sure these drivers are thinking about nothing else except trying to, in Paulison's case, trying to make that pass.
Looking at that battle, that's a great battle going on there for 8th. Also a battle up here for 2nd. We'll stay on this one. Oh, we're going to go there now. Okay, here we go. We'll follow this one for Gomez because it is a little bit farther up. Gomez and Cornett. I believe Cornett's going to be a little bit faster. Cornett qualified 3rd. Gomez qualified 4th. Right now they're running 2nd and 3rd. Gomez out in front. Let's see right here if Cornett can get in the toe and then duck it into the inside here.
And we see Gomez going defensive. And that's a block. That is, in my book, that's a block. He shouldn't be doing that. He chose his line and then tracked over to the right-hand side. Not the way to do it.
Well, Gomez could say that that's kind of the kink in the road that goes there, so maybe it looked worse than it is.
Maybe, but in my book, that's a block. He deliberately changed. He changed in reaction to Mitchell Cornett going to the inside, and he tracked over to the inside, and then Mitchell went back to the outside line, and coming through the kink, he went back to the outside. Sorry, Gomez, you blocked.
We'll stay on this one a little while longer as we ride on board with Mitchell, looking ahead at Lance. This is probably our best battle here, as we're just going to cross under the 6-minute mark. These drivers are for different squads, so it's going to be interesting. Now the driver in the back, Cornett, gets a good run. Now he's not going to get it done through the ultra chicane there.
See how defensive Gomez is? He was immediately on the inside coming up towards the ultra chicane there. Now, there is nothing that waves a red flag like somebody who's doing what Lance is doing to Cornett. So Cornett is going to redouble his efforts, Bill, to make the pass. And
and he hits him. A car was loose. That was Piera. And he collects. He couldn't see it. And now they collect another driver. We'll have to stay on this one. They collect Skinner. CM Skinner got caught up in the melee. So we're going to watch Gomez here.
Yeah, let's get the replay on that. That was, and just quickly, Cornett got through. Yeah, let's go through it one more time, Bill.
The problem is Gomez brings the car back on track. Watch this. After Gomez spins, he brings the car. Now, that's the car that's stuck. Now, there's no problem there. It's in the line. It's just sitting there. That's what he's supposed to do. Watch Gomez, who's in the fence now. He brings the car right back in front of Skinner.
Yeah.
We're going to go on board with Skinner, and this is... Now, At the backmarker United meeting, I'm telling you, this is not as bad as you think it is from the driver who was stuck in the middle of the road. I got to put the problems there on Cornette. So Cornette goes into Skinner. Remember now, Skinner, of course, is a New York driver. Am I correct on that one? Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Let's get this right. Gomez into Skinner.
But Bill, to be honest, the driver that was out in the weeds there and then came back onto the track, it could be that he had no control. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt there and say he had no control on coming back onto the track. But perhaps his awareness was not 100% because he should have realized that car's coming up fast onto me and there's an awkward place on the track. So maybe he had no control, but you also got to be really aware of what's going on around you.
Well, we won't have to worry about that blocking issue anymore, as that's been taken care of. But now we're looking at this battle here for P7.
Oh! And why are two clubmates attacking each other there? That is crazy stuff.
Well, no, that was Young. That's a New York driver, and that's Sabrina from Brazil. That battle for
Brazil.
eighth.
Yes,
yes, not surprised. Watch here. I have a feeling that Kyle has had enough. If he could get there, if he could touch him, I have a feeling that Sergio might be tasting a little bit of Italian alfalfa here.
Well, I don't think Carl's going to be able to do it like that. I'm pretty sure he got to slow down there.
Yeah, he's not going to get there.
Yeah, he's going to have to slow it down. But on fire is our friend Sergio Sobrino. Now he's got the other Northwest driver, Stephen Paulison. Now, where is Stephen Paulison? That is 7th place. So Sergio looking for 7th place for his club. Bearing in mind that he's the only Brazil driver within Kui of the top 10. So let's hope that he can pull it off.
I think Paulson would say, thank gosh he's the only
Brazilian
driver.
He comes on
he
the
makes
outside,
the move.
Drives past him with ease, Bill. That is just a great move.
Paulson has rearview mirrors. He saw what happened to Kyle. Maybe eighth is what I'll take here rather than end
all right,
up in
it's
the
2
shrubs.
minutes to go in the race, so they're going to finish this lap and they'll have one more lap to go up, I think. So that'll be the end of the race. So time for us to go and have a look at our leader, Brian Bennett, who's been perfect in this race. Maybe he's made the odd mistake here, but none that we could see. He's wheeling that car around this track like he's done it a million times before. Second place, Mitchell Cornett. Well, I guess we can say just about the same for him, although he got lucky when that incident took place in front of him in Ravazza on the previous lap.
Skinner, Sherburne, and Snelson round out your top 5.
And
Sean,
let's have a look. Has Paulison been able to do anything with Sobrino? No, not at all.
Sean Breetzman coming over the mic for the Northwest Club, managing from his pit box, saying, all right, everybody, just bring it home now. Calm down.
Well, that's right. I mean, this is going to be a last... let's see if Brian Bennett crossed the line. Brian Bennett's coming down towards Ravazza now, so he will get the white flag with 1 minute to go. He'll most certainly get the white flag when he crosses the line this time by. And that will be the last lap of this 2-part race for the World Cup, Bill. And I must say, this race, it's been exciting in places, but not as exciting as the oval race that we called just earlier, don't you think?
I think we're in good shape. Unless Mount St. Helens erupts again in this next lap, I think the Northwest Club is going to be able to bring this thing home and move on to the finals.
Oh, yeah, and that's going to be a whole new ball game. The finals with Finland, and looks like Northwest will most certainly be there. And I'm not sure, will New York make it in? I don't know.
Nope. This is going to be just
Finland.
Just the top 4. So Germany, Australia, and Switzerland, that team, and of course Finland. Then that combination team of the UK and Ireland, and then this team. It's going to be the Northwest team that comprises the states of Washington and Oregon, and maybe Wyoming. I'm not sure if they're part of that as well.
Okay, so I'm going to take issue with you on one small point here. You are not shy to mention the UK and Ireland, but you don't mention our friends New Zealand when you say Australia. You just say
I've
Australia.
got to do a better
Why is
job of
that? I'm
Because
going to definitely take issue with you there, being a proud Australian and loving our cousins across the pond in New Zealand as
all
well.
love to the Kiwis. I will make sure to do Australia and New Zealand. How about New Guinea? Are they part of that too? They're an island there. Don't give them any love. Why is it Australia,
no.
New Zealand, New Guinea? Meanwhile, negotiating the final two corners, it's Brian Bennett. He's going to win it for the Northwest Club. A nice race for him. He's just got to negotiate this last left-hander. Then the actual trap mech shows these as corners, but they're really not. Brian brings it across. Where is that start-finish line? It's coming. It's coming. It's here somewhere. And your winner of the Imola Road Course, Brian Bennett. Second place goes to Mitchell Cornett. There you
Third
go.
place looks like it'll go to C.M. Skinner. Fourth place will be another Northwest driver, Christopher Sherburn. And fifth place, once he gets through it, will be Bruce Nelson.
We'll
So
stay
that's
on all
your top
these.
5.
Yeah, we'll stay on all these drivers till all the cars finish this last lap that they're on. We'll follow Snelson around here, negotiating. I love these two left-handers.
Ravazza, yeah, they
Ravazza,
90-degree turns. They are very, very tight. Much tighter than they look on the cameras.
Snelson comes across in fifth. Let's see if we can pick up Hunter Reeves. We haven't given him much love today. Beautiful heart on the top. I love New York, it says on that car. So he's going to bring it home in a respectable 6th position. Oh,
Yeah,
he's
I like
actually in a
those
battle.
colors.
Hang on, this is not done, because here comes the Brazilian driver. Anything can happen when you're being followed by Sergio Sabrino. And I think he's going to get it in.
Yeah, he just
Reeves
crossed
and-
the line.
Paulison Young in a battle, and it looks like Paulison's going to get the best of that one. Young comes across in 9th. Jimbo Pfeiffer, nice race from him, finishing on the lead lap, going to come home in 10th after sitting on the pole. Let's look for 11th driver, running in 11th. That's going to be the New York driver that's Andrew Procario. Procario might be out of fuel. And I believe another driver who is out of fuel. Oh, Hutchison has spun it. I don't think it's going to matter. Hutchison is out of fuel. There we go. That's quite a push he got there.
He got a push, all right.
Bennett, that was your lace winner, giving him a push. The bad news for Hutchison, he ran out of fuel. The good news is I think he's still going to finish last car on the lead lap. First car 1 lap down. Okay. Hey, don't go away. This is the Global Sim Racing Channel. Hopefully we'll get some interviews here. We'll take a short break. We'll be back to run down the entire standings, do interviews, and then close up shop on a very long day of iRacing World Cup racing. Back in a few. welcome back to the Global Sim Racing channel's coverage of the iRacing World Cup. This was Group D, Round 2, the road course from Imola. And it was a nice, exciting race, and we have a winner. And let's go ahead and run down the standings. The Northwest driver, Brian Bennett, brings it home in first, followed by his teammate, Mitchell Cornett. Then we have C.M. Skinner, the New York driver, coming in third. Fourth and fifth, another pair of Northwesterners, Christopher Sherburne and Bruce Snelton. Back in sixth position, Hunter Reeves, a quiet sixth spot. Boy, a man who was not quiet, the Brazilian Sergio Sabrino. Gonna bring it home in seventh. He was all over the place today. Stephen Paulison in eighth, ninth, and 10th go to Kyle Young and Jimbo Pfeiffer. Rich?
11th place was held down by Andrew Procario. 12th place by Wayne Hutchison. 13th place, Brandon Watch. 14th place, Sonny G. Tucker. 15th place, Michael Kearns. 15th place, Jacob Klein, 16th place, Michael Kearns. 17th place, and these are guys who were leapt down, Edward Doherty. 18th place, Alison Pereira. 19th place, Lance Gomez Jr. And 20th place, Chris Beck. Only a couple left for you there, Bill.
Rounding out the back markers here, in hitting blackjack in the 21st spot. There we go. Christopher Buffet. We'd heard about Chris. He said that he lost his connection. 22nd position, Alex Montorenelli. Sean Brietzman, of course, we saw him do really well in the oval race. Going to finish in 23rd right now. And then the last car out there, 24 laps down. Not actually sure he took the get. That's Marcos Pica. It's not for certain, but it's pretty darn close for certain. Death, taxes, and you can pretty much figure that the Northwest Club is going to advance into the finals. We don't have the points number, but I feel pretty confident in making that announcement. Now, before we close up shop here, we're going to do a couple quick interviews. Let's talk to our race winner, a proud Northwesterner, Brian Bennett. Go ahead, Richard Losper.
Thank you, Brian, my good friend. That's a little different from racing an MX-5 in the Extreme League. How was it out there for you in this beast of a car?
Well, it's good. I have all the same problems as normal, though. I usually like to dive in deep and then try to accelerate really hard. So, I have to temper myself no matter what car I'm in. But I did have a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, early on, Jimbo Pfeiffer was involved in some problems there, and he landed up in the pits and had to have some repairs done. And that left the way open for you to take the lead, and really, you were never headed at all during the rest of the race.
No, I was out of town all this last week, and I got home yesterday, did some practice laps last night. Mitchell Cornett and I were about the same speed, and Jimbo's quicker. But, he made that mistake, and then he waited at the end of the line to rejoin, and meanwhile, they gave him a black flag, so he had to go to the pits for 30 seconds. That's what really kept him from having a good time chasing his way through the pack.
Yeah. So, this car, you don't race this car on any sort of regular basis, right?
Well, I did use it in the World Cup Enduro a couple of weeks ago, and honestly, this setup I'm using now is lightly changed from there. A little bit softer and such, but I do like this car. It's been fun. I just never raced it in any official races.
Okay, so your club Northwest are going to be heading into the finals by the look of it. Are you excited about that? Is it? What's the feeling like in your club? Do you guys talk to each other? Are you guys really, revved up for this series, this World Cup series?
Yeah, we take it pretty serious. The guys, everybody wants to do the best he can as a team. We have to be a team because we do have some strong drivers, but we don't have any, world-class guys out here on our team. So we're going to go out there and step it up and try to compete with Ireland, I assume, or the UK, and then, probably Deitch and Finland, probably, right?
Those
guys are studs. So we're going to go out there and try to do the best we can.
Okay. Well, look, we are going to be looking forward to seeing you guys compete there and try and bring it home, because we've got countries from all over the world there in that final. So it's going to be really interesting. I'm going to hand over to Bill. Bill, do you have a question for Brian?
Yeah, are there any ringers that you guys might be eyeing there in the Northwest that we haven't heard from? Is it going to be the familiar guys that we see in the Pac Majors, or anybody that might be slipping through the cracks that we'd be surprised by?
Well, you never know. I know we have some guys in the Blanc Pond Endurance Series that compete, or I'm not sure if they qualified, but there's a couple there. Ryan Otis is back racing. We've seen his name online here a few times lately. He's been in some of our practices, but he has been missing in action here for, several months. So, we'll, try to bring the best crew we can on the road side. And I know the oval guys are going to do the same.
One thing that is a certainty, it'll be a full field, though. We won't be short Northwest drivers.
No, we're strong like that. It's pretty impressive. I don't know what the numerical advantage that we have is, but I certainly think a state like California should have us covered.
Yep.
So they should be here.
That's because it's cold and rainy where you guys are. You have nothing better to do than be inside and race. Hey, good luck, Christopher. Well, good luck next week. Bring one home for the States, okay?
Brian.
All right, Bill. Thank you. And nice to talk to you again, Richard.
Yes, sir. I hope to see you out on track sometime.
I will be. I'll see you. I'll see you guys again. I'm going to get my shifter up and running. I'm going to come back to the Mazda.
Sorry, that's Brian Bennett. Sorry, I jumped down. I thought we were talking to Chris there. Brian Bennett, our course Northwestern, our winner today. All right, Rich, who are we going to bring in? Now we can bring in Christopher Sherburne there.
Yes, and you are going to interview Chris, so go right ahead, sir.
There we go. Christopher, let's see. Do we have him? Let's bring him in here. I'm lost. Chris, we got?
Not yet.
Wait, I got turned around there in the broadcasting booth. All of a sudden, I was interviewing a secretary. Christopher, congratulations, 4th place today. Nice job.
Thank you.
Well, let me ask you the same thing that I asked Brian, who won here for your club. Do you know any names that we might be thinking of, some ringers that we can bring in for Northwest coming up into the finals?
Not I.
Okay.
The Enduro Cup's really about the only time I really get a chance to run with very many of them. My race time's fairly limited and usually running in a couple other leagues. So,
right.
But make time for this.
We know you for the Pac Major, and hopefully we'll see you, or at least Race Spot will see you next week as you go to I guess it's Indianapolis, and the other course off the top of my head is, can my director help me? He doesn't know either. It's Indy for the Oval, and then Spa. Okay. Do you like those tracks?
I definitely won't be at Indy. Not an oval racer. I'm a so-so roadie. Usually mid to backpack.
Oh, that's okay though.
I was tickled to actually run quick enough times to get asked to run with these guys. It's been an honor flying the flag.
Brought home the 3rd best score here on the road course. Let me ask you this one last question here. This car, for me, it was a beast. For you, how did you feel in it? Do you race the Corvette usually? I don't think you do.
Nope. Actually, the Aston is my weapon of choice in the Autobahn series. But spent a lot of time this week running with the guys, working on the setups, trying different things, and kind of took one of their sets that they had was kind of their base set, made a couple tweaks that suited my driving style a little bit better, and ran with that, and was actually able to get comfortable in the car fairly quick.
Let's let the viewers know where you hail from up north. What? Let me guess. You sound, I'm going to say Portland.
Keep going north.
Seattle.
Even further north.
I get to Vancouver if I go any farther. What? Puget Sound. What's north of Seattle? Everett? What?
Actually, up in Bellingham.
Okay. Wow.
So
goodness.
actually, further north than some Canadians.
Yeah, I would think so. Well, be careful. Make sure you sign up in the right club, buddy. Hey, congratulations for a 4th place finish today, man.
Thank you much. Thanks for broadcasting. It's always a hoot.
Christopher Sherburne. We think he's from the Northwest Club, although it could be Western Canada. Is that going to wrap it up for us today? One more.
Now we're going to bring in Hunter Reeve for a quick one.
Okay, let's see if we can get Hunter down here. There we go.
Yeah, I got Hunter. Hunter, you got a copy?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hunter, you are not from the Northwest, let's put it that way. You are from New York. You finished in 6th place today. Feel happy about that one?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I was aiming for top 10, and I definitely made that today, so it was a pretty good result for me.
Okay, so are you a regular driver in these really big GT1 cars, or were you just brought in to practice and race this particular car in this particular race for your club?
No, I usually run a Camel GT or RUF Cup, and started seeing World Cup, and figured I'd give it a shot. So.
Well, good on you. Now, it looks like, and this is provisional, that Northwest has pipped you guys, and they're going to go into the finals, and you guys will not be going to the finals. But have you enjoyed the series? I'm asking people because it comes around once every year, and there's not much hype until it actually starts to happen. So is it something you guys look forward to, or is it just, I don't know, give us your feelings on it.
Well, I'm not even a year yet on using iRacing, to be honest. So I didn't know this really existed until I started seeing it pop up everywhere. And definitely the most fun I've had on iRacing, especially working with all the guys from the New York club. It's been a total blast, and I've been looking forward to every race. It's a total shame we don't make it to the next round. I think we have a lot of great drivers, and wish we could make it to Spa, but unfortunately we won't.
Okay. All right. Well, let me hand you over to Bill. Bill, you have a question for Hunter?
I'm just going to impress everybody with my able to catch dialects and accents here. I'm going to think you're from New York. I got a hunch it's Buffalo. Did I get it right?
Nope, close to Canada, but I'm originally from Atlanta. So.
I'll see now when you're a transplant, that doesn't count, man. All right. Hey, congratulations. And I know we're not going to see you at Spa, but hey, check out GSRC and look for our broadcast. Join the series that we cover. We'd like to see more of you, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I really enjoy the work you guys do. I think you guys do a great job. So, yeah, definitely be watching.
Thanks, Hunter Reeves. A little compliment will probably get you a little extra screen time there. Okay, I was about to wrap it up, but my director is just incredible. He's going to be able to watch this as he brings up the points for this round here, and it's going to happen right now. There you go. Look at the transparency, even a fade in there. And there you can see that the Northwest wins 12-75. It's a darn close battle, though, 10-12. That's only a difference of 263 points.
Yeah.
So a nice. New York gave them a good run for their money. A few more drivers in the oval, and it would have been a little closer. Brazil going to close up in third there was 681. And there's some other state that doesn't need to be mentioned there. We'll have to. Native-born California. We got to get our act together, guys. Hey, we'd like to thank everybody who's responsible for the iRacing World Cup, particularly Mike Willett, for organizing this series and contracting with GSRC. I got to read that again because Mike, nice job. Really, really good job, Mike. It's a thankless job, and man, congratulations for putting on a good show. Good luck the rest of the way. Thanks to the company's equipment and the software that you see on the screen right now that we use on the broadcast. The original music that you've heard on today's broadcast is thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde. Hey, if you're new to GSRC, see the screen for how to contact them. Go ahead, hit the pause button, and figure out how to get there and download some of their music. And for Pete's sake, listen to it in headphones. Get some serial separation. They work hard on that stuff. Enjoy it through 2 ears. The iRacing World Cup returns next week, November 12th, for the final round from the Brickyard Oval and the twists and turns of Spa. And you can watch all the action thanks to our friends at RaceSpot. Don't want to miss that. And if you'd like to find out more information about us, GSRC, like upcoming broadcasts and archive races, commentator backgrounds and histories, your best bet is Global Sim Racing Channel. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at Global Sim Channel. And finally, on behalf of my mic mate, Richard Losper, our director, Amjad Yarman, our camera artist, Dougie Beard, the GSR crew that covered the Group C, plus everybody at Max Speed TV, RaceSpot, I'd like to thank you all for watching. And with that said, it's time for us to go have fun storming the castle. So until next time, we're almost done, boys and girls. Race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.